Rise and grind, everybody. Good morning and happy Tuesday to you all. Dan Kasper Show is on the air on your radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online, sportstalk1051.com, where you can get the YouTube Live videos link up there too. And you got your Google and Alexa home devices and, of course, the Sports Talk app. But happy Tuesday, everybody. Appreciate you making us a part of your starts. It is a Grind My Gears Tuesday, so let's hear your grinds. What's grinding your gears? You can start to hit us up with some text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Let's see if we got any good ones here today. Maybe you're grinding about the Brewers offense from last night. Brewers not able to complete the 4-game sweep against the Rockies. 2-0 win for Colorado. Brewers for the longest time just had a couple of hits against Rockies starting pitcher Freeland, but Freeland picking up his 5th win with a great performance, going 7 innings, just giving up 4 hits, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. And Aaron Ashby did not pitch like a losing pitcher last night either. He went 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 9 strikeouts. Just could not get any sort of offensive help behind him whatsoever. Just nothing. But Aaron Ashby in his first start since getting that new contract, well, maybe giving a glimpse of what we can expect for the next few years with the Milwaukee Brewers. But good to see that. Good for him. Longest outing for him too. But nonetheless, Brewers now get set for a 2-game series against the Twinnies tonight and in Milwaukee before they head off to a quick East Coast trip. Starting Docks, then a quick stop over in Pittsburgh for 3 games before they return home again next week. No, not this. Yeah, August 5th and 6th. But let's focus on one series at a time, one game at a time, and we're going to see Ethan Small again for the Brewers tonight. Ethan Small, left-handed pitcher, if you remember, made 1 start against the Cubbies back on May 30th, where he went 2 2/3, gave up 2 earned runs, 4 hits, 4 walks. But one of the prospects, if you will, that's kind of been hearing a little bit about for the last maybe couple of years. So he's going to get another crack at it tonight, going up against the Twinnies, left-handed pitcher before Corbin Burns is going to be back on the mound for the Brewers on Wednesday, it sounds like, before Friday. I guess tomorrow's Wednesday. Good Lord, my week's already screwed up here. But, Corbin Burns will – no, yeah, today's Tuesday. Come on, Dan. Figure it out. I'm already got my mind on Green Bay for crying out loud. Today's Tuesday. So, yeah, Ethan Small's getting to start today, Corbin Burns tomorrow. Holy moly, Dan. Thursday's the off day. And then we'll get back to it. Brewers on Red Sox on Friday. Jeez, already focusing on Green Bay here. But we're going to talk some baseball throughout the morning as we inch closer and closer to the trade deadline. MLB.com has a good list of some options for a power bat. So we know the Brewers need a power bat, right? A lot of Brewers fans want another bat in this lineup. Well, MLB.com has an interesting list of 9 players that could be available by the deadline. Not Juan Soto on there, so you can take him off your list. But interesting names out here. And I will say, because what MLB.com does is they'll put some potential fits on there. Yeah, Brewers are listed like for almost everybody on here. So there you go. A lot of them are first basemen, DHs. A couple of them could play in the outfield there, but essentially they think that the Brewers would be good fits for all these potential players. So we'll go through this list coming up here in just a little bit, and that's kind of our turn 2 question of the day too. Realistically, give me 2 power bat options that you would like to see the Brewers maybe target by the trade deadline, or maybe try to go after for the trade deadline. Two realistic options out there. So we'll go through this list. Maybe one of those players is on your list for your turn 2 question of the day. But that's coming up in just a few minutes. Veterans reporting to training camp today for the green and gold. So get ready if you have social media in that, maybe to see some of the veterans, check it in, dorms and all that fun stuff, right? But we know some of them are already in town from this past weekend, maybe from the soccer game and that. Rookies reported on the 22nd last Friday, but officially training camp, you could say all 32 teams now. It's begun with veterans reporting, and the first day of practice is tomorrow for the Packers. But Packers also adding a couple of players yesterday to kind of fill out the roster. Now they're going to have to release somebody because they did have one spot open on their roster. They had 89 total players. You can have up to 90. But Packers reportedly going to be signing a couple of new players. One of them is a safety who has a lot of experience with Rich Bisaccia, safety from the Raiders. His name is Dallin Leavitt, and he played a lot of snaps on special teams for the Raiders over the years. So maybe another example of the Packers trying to prioritize special teams and players that can contribute on special teams, and players with experience playing under Rich Bisaccia on special teams too. That's the other thing. And then last night, the Packers reportedly signing another USFL player, wide receiver, big wide receiver too. But the Packers will be signing Osiris Mitchell from the USFL's Birmingham Stallions. Now, at Mississippi State, that's where he went to college. He caught 101 passes for over 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns. But like I said, he's a big receiver. He's 6'5" and 206 pounds. He's got a nickname, the Big O. Well, that's Oscar Robertson territory now that you're in Wisconsin. Sorry, Mr. Mitchell. But after going undrafted, he signed with the Cowboys and spent the most of his rookie season on their practice squad. So I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm looking too far into it. But with the news about Bakhtiari starting on the PUP list and the unknown about Elton Jenkins, the Packers have had a couple days here, and they've added players, but none of them tackles. None of them offensive tackles. So again, maybe I'm just being too optimistic in this whole thing. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but the first thing that popped up to my mind is like, okay, if there is serious concern about David Bakhtiari and not being able to go, would Green Bay have brought in a veteran tackle? There's a few of them available, but would they have brought one in now at the beginning of training camp? I mean, there's still plenty of time. They did that with Dennis Kelly last year, obviously, but they had a couple opportunities to do so, and they haven't. But I don't know. Again, maybe I'm just overlooking it. Packers had their shareholders meeting yesterday. Not a whole lot there. I mean, Mark Murphy, again, was a little bit – it was in the presser afterwards, but he wouldn't confirm whether, like, Goody and LaFleur and Russ Ball had contract extensions. And it's kind of like, well, Packers don't announce that. Well, I mean, there's examples of the Packers that do announce extensions for front office and coaching staff, and there's examples of where they don't. So, I mean, it's not like 100% they'd never do that. But according to various reports out there, yes, Goody, Matt LaFleur, and Russ Ball all got contract extensions this offseason. So they're going to be sticking around for a little bit here. But maybe the other thing is that Murphy said that they expect the Packers to hold a draft in 2025 or 2027. So maybe put that on your calendars. Living a Dream Jeff, he did address the need, or I shouldn't say the need, but the want of many Packers fans wanting noon home kickoffs. He said, I can't say the word he said, But to paraphrase, he said, if we get to that point, then we're a blank team. Let's just say crappy team. But he didn't use that word. So he knows that's what a lot of fans would like, more noon kickoffs at home. But he said if we ever get to that point, that probably means we are a blank team. You can fill in the blank right there. He's not wrong. He's not wrong on that part. I mean, I would love some more noon kickoffs, but that usually means if you've got a bunch of noon kickoffs at home, they're going up against a really poor opponent or your team itself is really really bad. So, yeah. But with training camp practice numero uno starting tomorrow, a tradition not like any other, I always kind of like look for a late rookie pick, like I'm talking 6th, 7th round or undrafted player in these training camp practices, in these preseason games that I'm like, okay, because that guy got a shot to be a contributor. That guy got a shot to make the team. So, new this year, I've got a watch list, a preseason watch list. We're bringing back the KPIs, the Kasper Performance Indicators, and I've got my top 5 watch list of either a 7th round draft pick or an undrafted rookie to keep your eye on this preseason, this training camp. Keep these names in the back of your mind. A couple of them may be a little obvious, but I had to fill out top 5, so that's what I got right here. We'll get to that coming up just a little bit later on. We'll catch up with RJ Cardinal as we also are inching closer and closer to the start of the college football season. So we'll do some position previews with the Badger football team coming up here. So we'll hit that up around 8:25, 8:30 here this morning with Mr. RJ Cardinal from the Zone in Madison. Right before that, though, we'll catch up with the Eau Claire Express. It is sports talk night at the Express game this Thursday. So today is going to be your final day to get some tickets from me, okay? Because I'll be in Green Bay tomorrow and Thursday. So if you want tickets to that sports talk night, today is your final day. All right, actually this morning is your final day. So just text the word Express to 715-830-1912 and I'll give you 4 tickets, okay? Got a few left, so first come, first serve. If you want to go to Sports Talk Night this Thursday, text the word Express. You got all the way until 9 o'clock this morning. You got to pick them up at our studios, too. So, but let's get things going here this morning. Coming up on the Wisconsin Credit Union leadoff, we'll chat some baseball. Brewers dropping their series finale against the Rockies last night, but Aaron Ashby looking pretty darn sharp coming off of that new contract. Now we start a 2-game series against the Twins. Ethan Small making another start for the Brewers. We'll take a look at that. And then some power bat options that don't include like Juan Soto or anybody like that. Interesting list from MLB.com, and they've got the Brewers pretty much attached to almost every single player on here. But give me your top 2. That doesn't include Juan Soto. Give me your top 2. We'll go through this list. Maybe you get your top 2 based off of this list. But a lot of them are first basemen, DH, a couple outfielders, which is no big surprise because we know Brewers may be even looking for a center fielder. But we're looking strictly at power bats, okay? Power bats. That's what this list is. So let's get things rolling. Wisconsin Credit Union leadoff this morning. We'll kick things off talking a little baseball before we get to some more green and gold chats. Training camp starts tomorrow.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back after these words.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Are you tired of going to job?
To the start of the fantasy football season, and we just need a couple more of you to sign up. Just a couple more of you to sign up for. We got right now two leagues of fantasy football going on. All you have to do is head to sportstalk1051.com and click on the Nation tab, and you'll see the sign up there for fantasy football. Click on that. All it is, I just need your email so then I can send you the registration info. It's free. It's just, like the league, so you can put your team name in and all that good stuff. So just head to sportstalk1051.com, sign up, sign your name up or your email in there, and be checking for an email in the next couple of days here. I know some of you I've sent emails, and well, we haven't gotten any registrations yet from you or any responses. So maybe check your spam, C-bomb. So just throwing that out there. But maybe check some of your spam folders or anything like that with an email from me with your registration info. All right, let's first of all catching up on a couple of texts. Drew from Eau Claire with a Grind My Gears Tuesday. People who drive through the gas pumps to get to a spot against the building, then look at you like you're the jerk because you drove around the pumps like a reasonable person because you don't want to run over pedestrians. That really grinds my gears. Drew from Eau Claire. I got a Joey Gallo pick for the Brewers there. So we'll get to the power bat options according to MLB.com here in just a second. But Brewers last night falling to the Rockies 2-0. You got to give a shout out to Freeland there, picking up his 5th win for the Rockies. He looked pretty sharp last night, going 7 innings, giving up 4 hits, and for the longest time, it was just a couple of hits there. Brewers couldn't get anybody in the scoring position. But he picked up the win. Aaron Ashby in his first start since his new contract, and, well, he looked pretty dang sharp too. 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, the longest outing for him in his very young career. Maybe giving a glimpse, a little bit of what could be for the Brewers and for Aaron Ashby in the next couple of years. If we get that type of performance on a consistent basis, hey, now sign me up for that. He definitely will be outperforming that contract in no time. But so Brewers still win the series. They still hold 2 games up in the division, in the Central there. So, but now they take on the Minnesota Twins, where Ethan Small is going to be getting another start for the Brewers. Called up from the Nashville Sounds. He made 1 start earlier this year, if you remember, against the Chicago Cubs, where he went 2 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, also issuing 4 walks. But hopefully we'll see maybe a little bit more of a better performance. Like, all right, got the first start out of the way, kind of calm down, get the jitters out this time, see how he goes up against the Twinnies here. Twins, obviously not familiar with him, so a little bit of an unknown factor with this. But, Ethan Small's a guy that Brewers been kind of hearing about for maybe the last couple years, waiting in the wings, waiting for an opportunity. And we'll see if he can kind of bounce back from his earlier start in May against the Cubbies. He's going to be going up against Dylan Bundy from the Twins, who's 6-4 this year with a 4.71 ERA. Not a ton of experience with the Brewers, obviously, against him, but a couple of former AL players do have some experience. That includes Rowdy Tellez, who's batting .250 in 8 at-bats against him. Omar Narvaez is batting .310 at-bats, and Willie Adames .250 in 8 at-bats as well. So that game tonight, 7:10, first pitch. Coverage will begin here on the radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM about 35 minutes beforehand. So your predictions for this series, let's hear them. Split, the easy 2-game split like last time, or are you going to pick a sweep for either one of these teams, for the Brewers or for the Twinnies? We got Corbin Burns that's going to be on the mound tomorrow for the Brew Crew. Can Ethan Small go out there and have a solid performance and, hey, maybe pick up his first win there? That'd be pretty darn cool. But I think I'm going to go split in this one. I think I'm just going to cop out and do the easy split, 1-1. Then they'll leave Milwaukee, and starting the All-Star break, 4-2, starting their second half after the All-Star break, 4-2. Yeah, 3 wins against Colorado. If they split against Minnesota, 4-2 before they do a little East Coast trip there. And then, after this Twin series, got one more series before that trade deadline. And that's, every day that goes by, you just kind of wonder, like, okay, deadline spur actions. Are we going to see anything? Are we going to start to, hear more rumors, some reports, or actually some trades going down? Is everybody just kind of waiting to see if the Juan Soto deal is going to fall through? And then, it's like a dam. The dam's going to break, and all these other trades will follow through. MLB.com has a list of 9 options for a power bat at the deadline. So this is from Mike Petrillo from MLB.com. Now, he for some of the guidelines to this, they did say that if you're not slugging at least 400 right now, you don't count. Sorry, Nelson Cruz and Jesus Aguilar. So if anybody's wondering about, like, why aren't those dudes on that list? Well, they've got one of the criterias here is if you're not slugging at least 400 right now, you're not on this list. So let's just jump into it. Their number one option, Josh Bell, first base for the Nationals. And as they say, Josh Bell is the most obvious choice here because he's having a very good year. Not going to read everything for you because you can check it out on MLB.com. He is a switch hitter, a competent defensive first baseman, and that every team has a DH now. It wouldn't be hard to find some teams that would be pleased with him. But they also asked, what version of Bell are you going to get? There's a little bit about Bell's season that's confusing to the writers here because he appears to have traded in some power. His 40.7% hard hit rate is considerably down from last year's 52% for contact. His 14% strikeout rate is excellent, and it would be his best full season mark. So, potential fits. I mean, every contender out there pretty much. Astros, Mariners, Cardinals, Brewers, Rays, Blue Jays. So, Josh Bell, first baseman. He is a free agent after this season, too. It's going to be a little bit of a rental. Maybe kind of do a platoon option there, him being a switch hitter with Rodriguez, potentially. But so far this year, he is batting .302 with an OPS of an .880 and 13 home runs. Next up on this list, Christian Walker. Get ready for a lot of common themes here. First baseman or DH. Christian Walker, first baseman for the Diamondbacks. Now you have him for a little bit more control because he is a free agent after 2024. Right-handed bat. Now this year he's only batting .205, but he's got 22 home runs. Now I don't know if at least a lot of our listeners, if they would be okay with this one because and I don't want to speak for everybody, but it seems like the majority of our listeners, when they've kind of talked about a need at the trade deadline, they said, a guy that consistently hits, consistently gets on base. The Brewers have got power hitters, but they don't have guys that consistently get on base. So when you look at the numbers here of a 205 and 22 home runs, does have an OPS of a 761 though, and an on-base percentage of 314. But in the little write-up here, it says probably our early favorite for trade that goes unnoticed but has a large impact. He is easy to dismiss because he's hitting 206 for a last-place team. The 22 home runs should tell you a little bit about the power he possesses, but mostly there are just a ton of positive indicators that show he's been a lot better than that low average would suggest. His walk rate, 13%, better than the average. His strikeout rate, 19%, better than the average. His barrel rate, which is a metric that shows hits with perfect combos of exit velocity and launch angle, is elite. So again, potential fits: Astros, Brewers, Rangers, Giants, Red Sox, Mariners. Trey Mancini is also listed on here from the Orioles. Ryan Mountcastle from the Orioles. But a lot of that will depend on, again, if the Orioles decide that they're going to sell or maybe even try to push this, because if Baltimore, still is kind of in this thing by the end of this weekend, like maybe a couple games out from a freaking wild card spot, I can't see Baltimore making any trades, right? I can't see them selling off any of these players. I mean, Baltimore's kind of like America's team right now. It's like, hey, now you got your team, but then everybody's like kind of rooting for Baltimore, maybe even little Seattle over there. Maybe the biggest name on this list is JD Martinez. And I feel like JD Martinez, we've talked about him as a potential Brewers option, like trade target for the last year, a couple of years down there. And now this year, he will be a free agent after this season from the Boston Red Sox. But you look at JD Martinez and you look at what he's been able to do through his career. He is 35 years old, and this year he's batting .302. He's got 9 home runs, an OPS of an 849, on base of a 368. His batting average this year is higher than his career, same as his On base percentage, OPS a little bit down based off his career numbers. But Boston, again, is an intriguing one. And Milwaukee, we'll see JD Martinez this coming weekend. And Boston has to decide for themselves, are they going to become sellers? Or are they still going to try to, maybe squeeze in a wild card chase? Now, Martinez has been banged up. He's been dealing with some back spasms off and on. Not considered serious, but I'm sure Brewers fans, when they hear back problems, they're like, oh, Lord, not again. Christian Yelich, Bronny, that sort of stuff. But this is definitely like a rental player. Unless the Brewers somehow can figure out, to sign him for a couple more years there. But I would have to imagine he's just, straight up DH. Yeah, he could play a little bit outfield, but you bring in a guy like JD Martinez, you probably plug him strictly in that DH role. Potential fits: Mariners, White Sox, Rays, and the Brewers. How about a third baseman within the division? Patrick Wisdom from the Cubs. Now, he's a free agent after 2026. And so far this year, he is just batting .220, but does have 17 home runs, 757 OPS, 317 on base percentage. But if the Brewers may be looking for a little bit more pop from a third baseman, would they look within the division with the Cubs trade with the Brewers? Well, they've got the Brewers as a possible fit, along with the Mariners and the White Sox. And maybe even another option from the Cubbies, Ian Happ. I feel like Ian Happ has been talked about a lot as a potential trade target for various teams the last year plus. But he turns 28 in August. He won't be a free agent for another year. Got an outfielder here. He made his first All-Star team this year. So could he potentially be a fit for the Brewers? Yeah, MLB.com thinks so. That could be a potential fit for the Milwaukee Brewers. So far this year, Mr. Happ is batting .282 with 9 home runs. He's got a slugging of a .445, an OPS of an .812, and an on-base percentage of a .360. Now, Ian Happ just feels like a guy that a Brewers mold to me, because he's a very versatile type of player. Now, I know this year, according to Baseball Reference, he hasn't played in the infield. The majority of his time has been in left field. He does have a few games as DH, couple games as center fielder. But in years prior, even just last year, he played a little third base. He played a little second base. He actually played in 56 games, it looks like, in center field last year. Plays all over the outfield, right field, left field, center field. So that just seems like a Brewers fit, doesn't it? A guy that plays multiple positions. I mean, how many times have we seen a Brewers player play more than one position? I mean, you look at this roster now, and it's like, okay, Willie Adames is just strictly a, shortstop. Colton Wong's strictly just a second baseman. But, you got the Luis Uriases. You want to throw it back to Perez, Jace Peterson, guys like that. Ian Happ just feels like a Brewer player, like that he would fit. But again, will the Cubs, would they be willing to trade Happ to the Brewers? Another player they've got, David Peralta from the Diamondbacks. He's an outfielder. They've got it listed as the Brewers as a potential fit too. So, I mean, Brewers are all over this list. The one player that I would really like for the Brewers, they, for some reason, don't have him as a fit for the Brewers on this list. And it's, the final one is Mr. Brandon Drury from the Reds, infielder there. I would love that guy with the Brewers, but for whatever reason, they don't have Brewers list on there. Maybe we're like, okay, we can't have the Brewers for every single player on here, but I don't know. That would be like number one on my wish list. So if I had to pick my transition 2 in this thing. I'd go Brandon, and I like Ian Happ. I think those would be 2 intriguing options if I had to base it just off of this list. Just off this list, where one of their criteria is guys that are slugging over 400. So if I'm basing it off that, those are my 2. Guys that bring you a little versatility, little pop, little on-base percentage. Those would be my top 2. You know, when you bring in a guy like a JD Martinez, you know that, okay, you're going to get some consistent at-bats, but you're kind of limited to just DH, right? So then it has a little bit of a trickle-down effect. Does that mean Andrew McCutchen plays more in the outfield? Can he play more in the outfield? How do you adjust some of that stuff? They'll figure it out. I mean, they figured out the whole Travis Shaw thing at second base, a couple of years ago. But if I had to pick, those are my top 2, Brandon and Ian. Now, both within the division, so maybe the price would just be a little bit more for the Brewers. But that's not to say it's never happened before. I mean, Brewers and Pirates have traded before. I mean, it happens. Trades happen within the division more than maybe any other league here. But, that's not to say like, Red Sox and Yankees do a lot of trades together, right? I mean, there's certain ones where they just don't happen, or they're very few and far between. But yeah, those would be my top 2. That's my top 2 for transition 2. How about you? Well, the rest of you, hit us up with some text, okay? 715-830-1912. All right, let's take a quick break. Check some more text outs, all that good stuff. Want your predictions for the Brewers and Twins? Hit me up with some text, 715-830-1912, or Twitter at DANKASPR, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports. We'll be back after these quick words.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more. From brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
Nice Chevy Trailblazer, Ben.
Thanks. It was love at first sight.
But didn't you say you loved all the room in the Chevy Traverse?
Oh, yeah.
And didn't you say you loved the style of the Chevy Blazer?
No doubt.
And all that technology in the Chevy Equinox?
Definitely.
But the Trailblazer was love at first sight?
Well, I didn't say it was the only one I loved at first sight.
The hardest part of driving home in a new Chevy SUV is choosing which one. Visit hometownchevy.com.
I know it's summer, and the last thing you're probably thinking about right now is the fall and winter months. But if you're a hunter, those months are always on your mind. Right now, you're scouting and game planning for the next hunting season. Deer, duck, turkey, bear. You're checking those trail cameras and getting those food plots ready. But while you focus on that part of your preparation for the next hunting season, don't forget about your gear. Specifically, that hunting rifle or shotgun. If you're looking for a new hunting rifle or shotgun, look no further than Tilden Gun. There's no debating it. Tilden Gun has the best selection in the Chippewa Valley, all at the best price. Whether you're looking for new or used, ammo or accessories, Tilden Gun has the selection to fit your needs for the upcoming hunting season. Stop in and visit with Sean, and he'll help you find just what you're looking for. And you can also visit tildengun.com to see what they all have to offer. Summer is going to fly on by, people, and before you know it, it's hunting season. Make sure you're ready for the upcoming hunting season with the help from Tilden Gun.
Service Master of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewaValley.com.
From the folks that brought you influencer marketing on the rocks comes remarketing on the rocks with the stations of Midwest Family and NaviQuest. Here comes another one of those buzzwords. What is remarketing? What is retargeting? Well, very simply, your website may be attracting lots of traffic, But are you doing everything you can to convert that traffic into customers? That's where we come in. Learn how to capitalize on lost web traffic at the Brewing Project August 17th from 4:15 to 6:15 p.m. It's a free seminar with complimentary beverages, and we've even got some hors d'oeuvres. You may have already heard that some websites will no longer have cookies attached. No. We're not talking about those cookies. We're talking about the cookies that track your online activities, and you can learn how to recapture all of that lost traffic, and also you can find out how to keep your brand top of mind online. We'll make it simple. Just go to MidwestFamilyEauClaire.com/ontherocks, get registered, and then join us August 17th from 4:15 to 6:15 p.m. at the Brewing Project for remarketing on the rocks.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. During every Brewers home game, fans will have the chance to win a brand new 2022 Toyota Tundra, courtesy of your Wisconsin Toyota dealers. Visit brewers.com/Toyota to enter. For more information on the Toyota vehicle for you, visit toyota.com.
All right. So all you got to do is stop on over at the Restore or visit their website, cvh4h.org, to find out some more details, a bunch of different ways that you can help volunteer some of your time as well with the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity. And by the way, when you're down at the Restore, do a little shopping. Maybe you'll find something that piques your interest. Maybe you'll find one of those treasures to add to your home. And if you're looking to donate, Restore, think about them too. Okay. Right on Claremont Avenue, just right there, just past the intersection of Menominee Street, 145 North Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity. Let's take a quick phone call here this morning. What's going on, C-Bomb? How are you doing?
Oh, El Capitano, good morning, my brother. It is a beautiful Tuesday in the motherland of Green Bay, and Lambeau Field will be in my vision within the next 12 hours. So that is a great thing.
Nice. Attaboy. What else is on your mind?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're talking a little baseball, what the Brewers can do. And, having their names tied to a first baseman like Bell or Walker and those individuals, I'm not a big fan of that. Like, especially Walker, because he's got 22 bombs. Yeah, that's great. He's batting 208. I think he said 208, something like that.
Yeah.
Rowdy Tellez has been fine. He's batting 230, which is better than 208. But he's got 18 bombs. I don't think it's any type of upgrade to go there. I think they need something in the outfield, and I think they don't necessarily need the power. They need somebody who can hit. And the guy that I would like to target, and I wouldn't mind being Happ either. I just don't know how that happens. If it'd be like us, the Packers trading with the Vikings. It's not just. I just don't know if that'll happen. But Andrew Benintendi from the Royals, that's the guy I wanted them to target 2 months ago, and that's the guy I still wish they'd target. And I think I know the Yankees have been tied to him a little bit, but if the Yankees are in it on Juan Soto, then maybe this is one of those guys like you were talking about yesterday that if they're focused on Soto, we go in and get Benintendi from the Royals, and I think that would be a big upgrade for the offense.
And I think, and I looked it up because I was going to yell at you for breaking the rules. It has to be guys that are batting over 400 and slugging. You're lucky he's 401 right now, so you didn't break the rule right now. But I think with the Yankee one too, remember a week or two ago they talked about, and I'm not getting political in this thing, but unvaccinated status in Canada. So, I mean, you look at the Yankees, what if they have to go and play Toronto in the playoffs? He wouldn't be able to play. So does that limit some of his market, especially in the American League? I think that's a factor now for some of these teams.
Yeah, it is. I think, that's a very good point. And I didn't even think of that. And that is, that's a really good point. And the Brewers won't have to run with that, thank goodness. So,
unless it's a
really,
World Series, but take it a step at a time.
Well, I would still deal with it. I would deal with that in the World Series, but I don't see Toronto being in the World Series. I think, we'll find out. Let's get there first.
Exactly.
You're right there, Dan.
Yeah, let's get there first. So then worry about it then.
Exactly. So if you had your choice and you could get a guy like Benintendi who's only got 3 bombs, but he's hitting 322, or but Ian Happ, would you rather have Ian Happ or Benintendi?
I like both of them, and I'm not trying to cop out or anything like that. Benintendi, you're limited to just the outfield, and maybe I know he spent most of his time playing just left field out there. He's got a little bit of center field to him back from his Boston days. But honestly, I would be perfectly fine with either one of these guys. Happ brings you a little bit more versatility to the table because he can play outfield and infield. But I'd probably go with Benintendi by just the slimmest of margins.
Yeah, I'm in the same camp, and I'm very curious to see what the Brewers do. And if they do nothing, boy, what'll that say? What are they telling the fan base if they don't make some type of move to really make a push for it? In 2008, or was it? I think it was 2008. What was CC Sabathia? Was that 8 or 11?
That was 8.
Yeah. When they went and they got CC Sabathia, it was like, oh my God, this team is in. Just making a big move like that just energizes the fan base so much, and it does the same for the clubhouse. If they bring in high priced players, or they give up a lot of picks to go get somebody, it's like it says something when the organization wants to go for it. And that, as a Brewers fan, when they got to CC, that was like the first time in my life that it was like, oh my God, they're really going for this. This is phenomenal. And that's something they need to do right now because they've got the pitching staff that can do it, especially if Ashby continues to pitch like he did last night.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. All right, dude. Hey, appreciate the phone call. We'll see you soon. Okay, bud?
Right on, my brother. Have a great day. Thank you.
You got it. There you go. So there's C-Bomb hopping off before we get to it. Surveyor Sam's got a couple of grinds. Good morning, DK. I've got to grind my gears, and you're all going to hear about it. Teenage drivers, you might be the worst thing out there. You never look when changing lanes. Always speed. Don't use a turn signal, and your music is always way too loud. Yeah, I'm going to be that guy. Especially when you drop $1,000 subwoofer system in your grandma's 98 Buick LeSabre. You're not cool. You're just being an inconsiderate little jackwig. Oh, and what also grinds my gear? C-Bomb not signing up for fantasy. I'd get you on that one too. 100%. 100% their surveyor. Totally agree with you. All right, coming up next hour, we're going to take a look a little bit at the green and gold. I've got my top 5 preseason watch list of players who are like undrafted players that maybe can make some noise in preseason and training camp. Undrafted or like 7th round draft picks. So those guys that are going to start training camp at the bottom of the depth chart. That's why I love preseason, is seeing these guys go and chase their dreams and work their tails off and trying to accomplish what so few people could ever do: play professional football, play in the NFL. So that's why I love training camp, is seeing some of these guys. And maybe, you know what, we might see some of those guys when it comes to be December and January. They might be contributors, or the team might have to count on them to contribute. So I've got my 5 guys, and a couple of them you probably already heard about, but yeah, we'll get to that coming up just past the 7 o'clock hour. Past the 7 o'clock hour. So don't forget, you can still text in your turn 2. Who are your top 2 wish list for power hitters? And that would probably be the one thing too different with Andrew and Ian. I don't know if they would consider Andrew a power hitter necessarily because of the home run numbers, but the slugging is up there at a 401 too. So good morning, Morgan. How are you doing?
Hey, Kasper. What's the latest and greatest?
Not a whole lot. How about you?
No,
No?
Not too much.
Yeah.
Coming off just some summer fun. Siggy's softball season wrapped up. So it's weird, though. As parents, that's, if your kids are in sports, it's everything. There's your schedule and everything's a whirlwind and a tornado and you get bleacher butt. And then you think when it's over, you're going to have more time, but something else always creeps up.
Right.
What's Hutsy doing right now?
Well, nothing really. He finished up T-ball a while ago, so he's, I think, just kind of trying to mentally prepare for kindergarten.
Yes, he's going to sit down and give himself one of those pep talks.
Yeah.
What advice are you going to give him starting out of the gate? Because that's a big deal. Kindergarten's a big deal.
I said it's fine to be nervous. It's fine to be scared, but
Is
just
he?
be respectful. 100%.
Oh.
Yeah, he's very, very nervous. Doesn't want to go. And I told him it's fine to be nervous and that. Just be respectful.
Does he have kids in his class that he's friends with, or is he going in solo?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
Don't know. So I mean, there's a couple of kids that he played T-ball with that will be there. We just don't know if they'll be in the same class.
So what makes him most nervous?
The unknown.
Yeah, just because he's
doesn't know
not
anybody.
familiar.
Yeah,
and he doesn't like that.
That's the big thing.
I think he'll be okay. Kindergarten's a big deal, though. How are mom and dad doing? It's harder on you guys sometimes, right?
I will be taking the day off, and I'll be sitting outside the classroom the whole day.
Oh yeah,
So-
been that parent.
I'll be that one.
So you like sports memorabilia? Did you hear about the Mickey Mantle card?
I saw the headline of it that it again could set records.
Okay, so it's 70-year-old Mickey Mantle baseball card. Right now, New Jersey waste management entrepreneur, G-Man. This must be where the money's at because this guy owns the card in Jersey. It's a 1952 card. Said it's near perfect condition. He bought it in 91 for $50,000. Right now, that $50,000 investment could break records. Estimated final cost of the card could exceed. You want to take a crack at the bat? Early estimates on the Mantle card.
Let's go $7 million.
Up.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, right? $10 million.
That was my second guess.
Now, the auction wraps up at the end of August if you want to put a bid in. Warranted? Is this the kind of thing?
$10 million?
Like, I know you're
mean,
a card guy. So do you think there's any card, or do you think at some point it gets ridiculous to get into the double-digit millions? Or should it be infinite? If people are willing to pay, then there's the value.
If there's somebody willing to pay for it, good for them. I wish I could have $10 million just to spend on a baseball card.
But would you, if you had that kind of money, is that something that you would invest in? Is that having a card that was worth that?
If I had if I was worth $1 billion.
So it all works on a sliding scale of wealth.
If I only made $50 million, probably not.
But where does the pride, where does the fulfillment in owning a card come from versus a piece of memorabilia like a jersey that was worn?
Oh, I would rather have the jersey.
Okay.
Like I'd rather have a jersey worn. Like if I had the choice between a Don Hudson card or a Don Hudson jersey worn, 10 times out of 10 it's a jersey.
But there are people that go for the cards. And now, is that for trade value? Is that because it's part of this larger sports arena?
It's like a stock.
Because you have like a physical, tangible piece of something to
and
trade.
The price goes up and down a lot. So
and you can fluctuate and follow and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, I'll see if you can get a bid in that is close to the $10 million mark. That's
we might need G-Man's 401k to help.
I'm telling you, the guy that owns it does what G-Man does, and somewhere that's where all the bucks have to be, right?
Yeah.
He makes the green in his waste management career. So if that card shows up in this studio from G-Man, we are going to have some mighty big words, my friend.
No doubt, man. I won't see you tomorrow.
You out?
I'll be in Green Bay.
Oh, that's right. You're there for...
I'll see you Friday.
Show off.
WAYY Eau Claire. W286CK Eau Claire. Sports Talk. 105.1, 790 AM. Sports Talk 105.1 with the very latest local news.
We continue to wait for more answers about a deadly wreck involving a Wisconsin state senator, as it's the Ashland Police Department that says Senator Janet Bewley pulled out in front of a car on Friday and was involved in a crash. That crash sent the car into oncoming traffic. Officers say a mom and her baby died in the crash. Bewley, who is a top Democrat in the Wisconsin Senate, was not injured. Investigators say it does not appear alcohol was a factor. Police not recommending charges in the case. Nearer to us, there's a search in Eau Claire for a hit-and-run driver who police say clipped a person in a wheelchair. This happened over the weekend, Sunday night, north of the city's downtown area. Eau Claire police say they have security camera video of the crash, saying it shows a white Chevy Equinox hitting a person then speeding away. The person in the wheelchair had to be taken to the hospital for treatment. We continue to look at the political stage, and there's one less hat in the ring. Bad news, good news from you. Bad news, good news comes from Democratic candidate Tom Nelson. In a brief statement released to social media Monday, the Outagamie County exec announced his campaign is over. So how does he break it down in terms of that bad good news?
So that's the bad news. The good news is I'm proud to say that the progressive vote is consolidated and the progressive family is won, because today I'm endorsing Mandela Barnes for the U.S. Senate.
Nelson was polling behind Barnes, Bucks executive Alex Lassery, and state treasurer Sarah Godlewski. The winner of the August Democratic primary will face Republican U.S. Senator Ron Johnson in November. Closer to us, we go around that meeting table, and Dunn County considers an advisory referendum on health care. The county board will decide tomorrow if it wants to put a question on the November ballot asking you, voters, if you want to see the federal government create a single-payer system of health care. The question is just advisory, so nothing will change no matter what voters say this time, just getting kind of a finger on the pulse. But county board members say they want to gauge the public's interest in the idea. And it's about time we checked in with some thieves from Naples. They made off with a tourist's watch at gunpoint, but then decided, let's take it back. Why?
It happened in Naples, Italy last week, where the mugger took the watch from a pair of tourists enjoying a drink after the thief apparently realized the watch wasn't a $300,000 Swiss-made Richard Mille. The thief's partner returned it to the tourist with an apology. The entire thing was caught on security camera. The tourist didn't seem terribly upset, though, as he stayed the entire time to finish his drink. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Hey, we're coming up on fall here pretty soon. Sounds like time for another chili cook-off. And Kasper's already planning his method to cheat. Instead of playing fair like everybody else, him and G-Man came up with a recipe. Get this, it's a bowl, but it's a
$300,000 Swiss-made Richard Mille.
Fine, you go ahead and play dirty. I'll just stay here and
to finish his drink.
For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
Most of today will be staying dry, but we'll have some intervals of clouds and sun to take us through the morning and into the afternoon as our temperatures only make the climb to the upper 70s and low 80s with a good bit of humidity working in. Later on tonight, we'll have a better chance at some showers and possibly a thunderstorm with our lows dipping to the low 60s. This will give way to clear conditions going into tomorrow morning, possibly starting off with a little bit of fog, but temperatures only making the climb once again to the upper 70s and low 80s. On the Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike Dandry.
Hot, dry weather continues around much of the country, and that's taking its toll on the condition of the crops. Let's take a look at the farm news this morning on Sports Talk 105.1. This week's USDA crop progress report shows the corn crop is now rated 61% in good to excellent condition. That's down 3% from a week ago, with 62% of the crop silking, 13% in the dough stage. Soybeans are down 2% this week to 59% good to excellent. 64% of the beans are blooming. 26% of the plants are setting pods in two states showing real dry weather and stress on the crops, Nebraska and Missouri. Here in Wisconsin, the corn crop got better as it's now rated 79% good to excellent. That's up 2 points from a week ago. The report also shows 33% of our corn is silking. That's a little less than a week behind normal. Soybeans are also rated 79% good to excellent this week. That's 3 points better than a week ago, as 65% of the beans are blooming and 26% are setting pods. State farmers have also harvested 9% of their oats, 5% of their fall potatoes, and 26% of their wheat, as all three crops are in good condition. Haying is also progressing nicely, with 90% of second crop and 13% of third crop already made. Topsoil moisture this week, 75% adequate to surplus, 20% short, and 5% very short. Wisconsin FFA is going for two national FFA officers in a row, that is, as Courtney Zimmerman from Spencer, being the current national FFA officer from the Central region, and Ben Steyer, the immediate past president of the state FFA from Menominee, throwing his hat in the ring now. He's been selected to be Wisconsin's next national officer candidate. The next officer team will be selected at the upcoming National FFA Convention this fall in Indianapolis. And, of course, good luck to Ben. That's a look at some farm news this morning on Sports Talk 105.1 and AM 790. I'm Bob Bosold.
Save 11% on all your outdoor storage needs at Menards. The Suncast 8x10 tree-mount storage shed keeps your garden tools, bicycles, and outdoor equipment organized and protected with its reinforced walls and floors, metal hinges, and lockable handles. Get peace of mind with 11% off all Suncast storage sheds now at Menards. Good through July 31st. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Staples has everything you need for school at prices that won't hold you back. Don't send your kids back to school. Send them forward at Staples, the working and learning store.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the,
Welcome to the Dan Kasper Show.
Passion. I live and breathe sports. It's my life. It's also a problem. Dedication. You deserve the best of the best. That's why I grind it out every day to give you the best show possible. Knowledge. Cover 2 defense should not have been played in that situation. Stack the box, put 8 guys up there, and dare them to think. Entertaining. They pay me a little bit to talk, but the swagger, I give them for free.
I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Wisconsin's premier sports talk, The Dan Kasper Show.
Yeah, baby.
Now, let's get it on.
The Dan Kasper Show is on air right now.
What time is it?
Here's your guy, Dan Kasper.
So light 'em up.
All right, here we go. Second hour kicking off on this Tuesday morning. Up, everybody. Hopefully you're all off to a fantastic start. Appreciate you tuning in. Coming up this hour, we'll chat some more green and gold. I've got my top 5 preseason watch list of players. 5 players who were either like 7th round, late round draft picks or undrafted rookie free agents that I'm going to keep my eye on during this preseason and in this training camp. 5 guys that I think have a shot to maybe either make the team or at some point this season be a contributor. So I've got my 5 intriguing players here. Get to that here. But first, let's do some sports nuggets for this morning. We'll go to, let's go with 1928. Gene Tunney beat Tom Heaney by a technical knockout in the 11th round at Yankee Stadium to retain the world heavyweight title. 1948, Babe Ruth was seen by the public for the last time when he attended the New York City premiere of the motion picture, The Babe Ruth Story. Let's go with 1996, American swinger Amy Van Dyken won the 50-meter freestyle to become Atlanta's first quadruple gold medalist and the first U.S. woman to win 4 in a single Olympics. That's about it. Yeah, that's about it. That's what we got for some sports nuggets for this morning. All right. So anybody who's listened to this for a while or knows me knows I love me some preseason football. And a lot of it's just because, 1, I love football, but 2, I just, there's a couple parts. 1, I like going to a preseason game. It's a little bit cheaper. Weather's pretty nice. And, it's not a bad way to kick off and get ready into a little bit of a football mode, if you know what I mean. So, but the other part is I love watching these younger players battle for a roster spot, trying to chase their dreams, trying to accomplish those goals, working their butts off because, when the starters are in, okay, yeah, they're playing a little bit here. But when those backups are in and when those guys who are trying to fight to make a team or trying to make a good impression, they are giving it their all, 100%. When those starters are in, they're just trying not to get hurt, right? But when those 3rd, 4th stringers come in, it may not be the greatest football in the world, but you know what? Those are youngsters trying to chase their dreams and trying to accomplish some major goals. So that's why I love watching too. And you never know. You might, when it gets to a point in December, you're like, who the heck is that guy? Oh, yeah, I remember him from preseason, in a preseason game or training camp making some plays there. So you know a little bit about them. So there's always like a guy or a couple guys I'm like, oh, that really stood out to me during preseason, some of those games. So something different I'm going to try out this year. I'm going to come up with a watch list, my top five players that I'm going to keep an eye on for this year. And there is a couple of 7th rounder, late round draft picks on here. I mean, you're still at the bottom. Essentially what these are players who are at the bottom of the depth chart, and they've really got to work their way up to not only make the team, but, maybe be considered for practice squad or just even getting on the field at some point. So we'll start off with a couple of 7th round picks here. So if you remember back to the draft, I had this guy mocked going to the Packers, but I believe it was like 5th round. He ended up going in the 7th round. Tariq Carpenter. So he is from Georgia Tech, linebacker converted to safety, 4-year starting safety, making the move to linebacker. But his size, his speed, he was known to be aggressive. I just looked at him as being a potential, special teams contributor. Maybe drafting a little bit for special teams, but, I don't know if he'll get on the field right away. I don't know if he will get a lot of playing time on defense right away. But when you bring in a safety, convert him to linebacker, every team's looking for those fast linebackers that can cover running backs out of the backfield, maybe can keep pace for a tight end. You got these bigger tight ends who are fast and just huge. You can't put a corner on them because they'll overpower them. You can't put a linebacker on them because they're too slow. So you're looking for these hybrid safety linebackers that can go, and cover a tight end and take on a tight end and maybe help out in the running game here too. So I like the intangibles of Tariq Carpenter. I think he's got some playmaking ability. Now it just depends on, is he going to have enough opportunities to get on the field to make those plays? Is he going to be able to do that? But I'm really curious, and I'm excited to see Tariq Carpenter and see what kind of role they put him in. But I think his first chance to make an impact is going to be on special teams. He's got to do that in preseason. Has to do that. The other pick is 7th rounder, wide receiver, Nebraska's Samori Toure, who Aaron Rodgers kind of called out a couple weeks ago. But, he was a 7th rounder. You look at the numbers that he put up throughout his college career. I mean, they're pretty solid. He's a versatile receiver. He was considered as a quote-unquote big slot, but you can move him across the formation a little bit there. I mean, the fact that he already has Aaron Rodgers kind of attention, I think is huge for him. That's huge for him. So, if he's going to be on the field with Aaron, he's probably not going to be on the field with Aaron during any preseason games. But if he's going to have that opportunity in training camp practices to be on the field with him, be ready and take advantage of that, right? It's not bad to have, Aaron Rodgers on your good side. Now, maybe a couple years ago, it probably didn't matter, Jake Kumaro. But I would think now the Packers are probably like, okay, let's make sure we keep number 12 happy. And when you look at the wide receiving depth, hey, I think they'll take anybody who, it's an open competition, I believe, for a lot of these players. So keep an eye on Mr. Toure. He's an interesting player that I think if he gets an opportunity, you might see him kind of creeping up on the depth chart here a little bit, especially, with Christian Watson on the PUP list. I don't know how long he's going to be on the PUP list, but kind of this might be an opportunity, at least at the beginning, for somebody to make some noise. So the other ones here, some undrafted guys. I'm going to go with a running back first up here. I'm going to go with Tyler Goodson from Iowa. Now, Badger fans, we probably saw him quite a bit, right? All-purpose back. In 3 seasons for Iowa, he rushed for only 500 yards, added 70 receptions. He was first team All Big Ten in 2020. He had a career high of 1,151 rushing yards and 31 receptions this past season. We know the top 2 running backs in Green Bay. It's I mean, Dillon and Jones. Now, Hill is coming back from an ACL. Will he be able to come back in time for the start of the season? And he was trying to help out on special teams. That's where he got hurt, return game in that. But I think Tyler Goodson, with his versatility, that he's shown that he can run the football, but he can also catch the ball in the backfield. I think that's intriguing when you look at this style of offense for Green Bay, and knowing that Hill is still going to be missing some time. Don't know when he's going to be back. I think Tyler Goodson has an opportunity. He's going to get at least some early chances to make an impression. But I kind of like Tyler Goodson here. Keep an eye on the Hawkeye. Keep an eye on the Hawkeye. I'm going to go with the lineman here, but at the center position. Now, hear me out here. This kid from Central Florida. He was a starter with 46 starts at guard as on his resume. But according to Pro Football Focus, he didn't allow a sack and was penalized just 3 times as a senior. So he could play that center, he could play that guard position. But according to Pro Football Focus, among guards with 250 pass protecting snaps, he ranked number 1 in pass blocking efficiency. Now, that measures sacks, hits, and hurries per pass protecting snap. Now, Packers obviously invested heavily in the draft in some offensive linemen, in some versatile offensive linemen. But they're adding a guy, and you could say, well, look at the level of competition that he played against with Central Florida. And I get it. I totally get it. But this is an intriguing player to me, and maybe it's a player that, doesn't crack the 53, but somebody that Green Bay stashes on the practice squad and maybe kind of continues to work with, bring him up. But I think he has some intriguing intangibles here. And I just, the first person that I was kind of like, all right, like a Lucas Patrick maybe, because Lucas Patrick, undrafted, he signed with the Packers, went on the practice squad, worked his way up. Now he's with the Bears. But, a center guard combo type of player, just that was the first person I kind of thought of with Cole Schneider, the guard center from Central Florida. So keep an eye on him. And then finally, I'm going with my second defensive player, and maybe potentially the one player that has a really good shot. I mean, I would say Tyler Goodson does too, and I think Tariq Carpenter is going to make it. But in terms of like undrafted free agents, perhaps a guy that really has an opportunity to make some noise, and I'm going with an outside linebacker, Chauncey Manac from Louisiana. This is an interesting player. He's about 6'3", 250, kind of depending on the measurements that you're looking at. We know every website has different different numbers, but this is an interesting player to me because when he was going through the recruiting process, I mean, he was one of the highly recruited guys out there, Georgia, but then he ended up being a transfer. He's a little bit of an older prospect, but he played for Louisiana. And in his senior year, 10.5 sacks, 14.5 tackles for losses. Among edge rushers that was in this draft class, he had similar numbers to like Boy Mafe, who went in the second round. Guy that I really liked for the Packers from Minnesota. So he put together some solid years as a starter at Louisiana. And, was coming in. He had interest from Kentucky, Tennessee, all that sort of stuff. But he went to a community college. He chose Louisiana Lafayette over Cincinnati, Florida, Ole Miss, and such. Great in run defense. Just an aggressive outside linebacker. And when I'm looking at that outside linebacking depth, is there a possibility for him to make some noise? You got Tipa Gali, who's kind of was in a similar boat, right? Undrafted. Green Bay worked with him. He might make the 53. Made some impact plays last year. You go back to J-Rone Elliott. Undrafted guy. Made some noise in the preseason at outside linebacker. Made the team. But, just kind of reading a little bit more from his scouting report. Fills gaps against the run. Lateral ability to make blockers miss. Able to set the edge and extend against blocks. Gets off the ball well. Able to rush upfield with speed. And maybe the fact that he is a little bit older. I mean, he is a 6-year transfer. He's already, was he 24? Maybe that actually helps him out a little bit, though, too. He's got that experience. But I'm really intrigued with that one, with Chauncey there. I think that's somebody who can make some noise in training camp because of the opportunities. I think it's pretty open in the back end. Yeah, you got a couple of returners. You got a rookie in that draft pick, but I like this guy. Just at least on paper so far. But those are my top 5 for the preseason watch list. Tyler Goodson, Tariq Carpenter, Cole Schneider, Samari Torre, and Chauncey Manning. For those 7th round undrafted rookies that potentially could make a play, make some noise in training camp and in preseason, and maybe even, just maybe even, getting a spot on the roster. All right. So, tell you what, let's take a quick break. We'll chat a little bit more green and gold with Joe coming up next. Then we'll get back to some more baseball talk too. If you had to pick 2 power bats for the Brewers to acquire by the trade deadline coming up here by August 2nd, who would be those 2 on your wish list? We'll catch up with the Express at about 8:05, and then we'll chat some Badgers. Getting closer to the start of the Badger football season, we'll start to do some position previews with Mr. RJ Cardinal with his Badger football team. So let's take a quick break, and then we'll continue some more green and gold talk after these quick words.
You're listening to The Dan Kasper Show.
Customer service. Those are the 2 words that my grandma kept coming back to when she was telling me about her experience with Carpet City Flooring Center. The carpet looks amazing in her living room, but it was working with the entire team from Carpet City Flooring Center that she still can't stop talking about. The process was simple thanks to the entire team there. They drove out to my grandma's house, did the measuring, gave her a quote, and they took a look at some samples. Then came the install. Not only did they do a fantastic job of installing the carpet, but the one thing that stood out to grandma, they vacuumed after they completed the job. She kept going on about how the last time she got new carpet replaced from another place, how they didn't even clean up. Customer service. You can expect to find amazing customer service at Carpet City Flooring Center because that's who they are. They treat people the right way. So if you're looking at getting a new floor in your home, take it from grandma. Because like my grandma always told me growing up, because grandma said so. And we never, ever argue with what grandma says. Check out Carpet City Flooring Center today, located at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire. I know it's summer, and the last thing you're probably thinking about right now is the fall and winter months. But if you're a hunter, those months are always on your mind. Right now, you're scouting and game planning for the next hunting season. Deer, duck, turkey, bear. You're checking those trail cameras and getting those food plots ready. But while you focus on that part of your preparation for the next hunting season, don't forget about your gear, specifically that hunting rifle or shotgun. If you're looking for a new hunting rifle or shotgun, look no further than Tilden Gun. There's no debating it. Tilden Gun has the best selection in the Chippewa Valley, all at the best price. Whether you're looking for new or used, ammo or accessories, Tilden Gun has the selection to fit your needs for the upcoming hunting season. Stop in and visit with Sean, and he'll help you find just what you're looking for. And you can also visit tildengun.com to see what they all have to offer. Summer is going to fly on by, people. And before you know it, it's hunting season. Make sure you're ready for the upcoming hunting season with the help from Tilden Gun.
Are you tired of going to job fairs where there's a bunch of people standing around? There's some free stuff. That's cool, but you're trying to find the job you want and it's just not there. The whole thing is awkward. Well, instead, go to Careers and Beers. It's coming up on Thursday, August 11th at the Brewing Project in downtown Eau Claire. Maybe you've heard of Careers and Beers before. Well, it's back, and what it means is a bunch of local employers in a much more casual setting, and you get a free beer on the house while you walk around and possibly find the job you want. Also, we'll have live music once again from Brian Bethke. He'll be providing the tunes in the background at the Brewing Project up on the top level, Thursday, August 11th, 4 to 6 p.m., totally free. Come on by, get your free brew on the house, and maybe find the job you want at Careers and Beers, August 11th, the Brewing Project, downtown Eau Claire. With a wholesale formula seminar, discover how to start your own Amazon business.
Hey everyone, Ryan and Karen Pottinger here.
Because of the wholesale formula, last year we ran our business while we traveled to and lived in 4 different countries.
Hi.
River Country Co-op wants to help you put some gas in your tank. It's the River Country Co-op Senex Small Town Gas Pass giveaway. The River Country Co-op Senex Small Town Gas Pass giveaway of the week for this week is the Athens and the Cadott locations. So all you have to do is just stop on in at the Athens and the Cadott Senex stores this week only to register to win $50 in gas, a $50 gas card. No purchase necessary, but while you're in there, might as well grab some snacks for the road, right? Maybe a beverage, maybe some chips or something like that. But don't miss out on your chance to win some free gas. Just get to these River Country Co-op Senex stores now to enter. We got a few more coming up, a few more different locations. But again, this week, the 2 locations, Athens and Cadott. The Cadott one right off of Highway 29. Maybe if you're heading over to Green Bay this week to watch some training camp, to watch some practice, you can stop on over there, get some gas, and then sign up to win that $50 gas card. That's simple, right? That's simple. Veterans returning today, or I should say have to report by today, although some have already, for the Packers training camp. And then the first official practice will begin at 10:30 tomorrow morning at Nitschke Field. So anybody who's maybe taking the kiddos down, getting some bikes ridden by some Packers, hey, take some pictures and send those babies on over, okay? But as we get a little bit closer, I just went through my top 5 undrafted late round pick players to watch in training camp. Let's talk some more green and gold with Joseph. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. And are you ready, my man, to make the trip to the hallowed grounds of Lambeau Field and do your show live from there? And I'm seeing you're active because I think you got Wayne Larrabee lined up and a couple of others. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good stuff for you, brother.
Mm-hmm. Way to ruin the surprise, man. Man.
Well, it's on Twitter. It was on social media. Wayne agreed. So,
But, I didn't announce it yet. Now you just ruined it. You just ruined Christmas morning for everybody.
Well, I don't think I really did, considering it was out there on social media. So this wasn't like hey, over the bar stool, you said to me, hey, don't tell anyone, but Wayne Larrabee said yes.
Well, I won't tell you the other couple that we got lined up until tomorrow. How about that? It's like Christmas
Well, there
morning.
you go. That is awesome. And again, I'm excited for you, brother, because to be there in the shadows of Lambeau and to be doing your show, it's exciting, man. So I'm very, very happy.
It'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it for sure. And it's finally here. All the off-season talk and speculation and predictions. It's finally here. And still, one of the big unknowns is David Bakhtiari with being placed on the PUP list. The question I was asking yesterday, I'll ask you, Joseph. Are you the glass half full approach of like, all right, it's Green Bay, we know Dr. McKenzie and that staff have been cautious over the years. Maybe this is a way to like, all right, we're going to bring him in, put him through some workouts, see how that knee responds. If he passes our tests, he's activated. Or are you the glass half empty? Be like, nah, there's something else going on here.
At this point, I'm glass half empty, and you're 20 months ish removed from that injury, and it was reported yesterday. I believe it was Diana Rossini reported that Bakhtiari was feeling good, was ready to go, and then had another setback. And so when you have a setback at this stage, it doesn't bode well. Now, again, I don't want to be all doom and gloom, and I don't have any inside information on this, but I have a feeling that there might be more to it. And again, if it were minor, I think they would have actually let him start off the PUP list. And so, again, fingers crossed on this one. And it was interesting because yesterday I was listening to sports talk radio all day, and people were saying, just cut him. And people on social media were saying, just cut him. That's not going to happen. All right. So that's just not going to happen. And when you look at where his contract is and the money that's pushed forward into future years, David Bakhtiari, one way or another, is going to be a Green Bay Packer this year. And again, it's unfortunate. You look at it and you compare it to Elton Jenkins' injury, and they talk about Elton Jenkins being a clean tear as opposed to the kind of tear that Bakhtiari had. And at this point in time, again, he could pop off the PUP in a few days and maybe a week, and everything's going to be hunky-dory. But at this point in time, I'm glass half empty, and I think that there's something more going on. And look, I also think he's doing everything he can to get back out there. And with a left tackle with that lateral knee movement, that's one of those positions that is a dangerous position to come back, and dangerous position with ACL injuries. Now, again, it was interesting. I saw over the weekend that Brian Balaga was back in Green Bay, and not saying that he was signing or anything along those lines, but he on his own Instagram account reported he was back in Green Bay. And there's a guy who did come back from a couple ACLs, but you look where he's at right now. And so it's going to be interesting. And if I was a betting man right now, I'd be betting against Bakhtiari. But time will tell. I just, at this point, not looking good for Green Bay Packers at number 69.
All right, so you have Elton Jenkins, who's still coming back from an ACL. He's on the PUP list. Besides Yash, who's next? Who's going to be starting right tackle when practice opens tomorrow?
It could be Cole Van Lannon, depending on how the rookies mature and assimilate themselves to the the rigors of the NFL. I mean, you could see Royce Newman flipping out to right tackle, but I think there's no question at this point that Josh Nijman obviously steps in at that left tackle position, and then it's really up for grabs at that right tackle. And this is why Gutekunst and everyone looked at it that wide receiver, and they go out and draft 3 wide receivers. Well, guess what? They go out and draft 3 offensive linemen, and so you just can never have enough there. But I could see that right tackle position being a battle, and I still think that between Ryan and Tom, I think you got a couple of kids, rookies, who can play right away and step in right away. But if I were looking at this, I'd say Van Lanen probably gets the first shot, with Royce Newman staying at that right guard position, and then see what the rookies do and work the rotations. But yeah, that offensive line, it's interesting because I think it was a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was even last week, Captain, you asked me reasons why the Green Bay Packers win the Super Bowl and reasons why they won't. And I said offensive line question marks. And if Elton Jenkins can come back, if the Green Bay Packers can get one of those guys back healthy, playing 100% early enough in the season, Bakhtiari or Jenkins, I feel much better about this unit as a whole. But right now, too many question marks.
Joe DeGuano joining us here this morning with training camp starting tomorrow. Veterans have to report by today. So outside the outside line, or outside of the offensive line group, I know we kind of touched on it off and on here, but now that we're finally here, and I know the Packers have added a couple more players for maybe some depth reasons there, but what else besides the offensive line are you going to be paying attention to based off these reports and such?
I think it's going to be that tight end position. I think you have to look at that because obviously you've got another question mark there in Bobby Tunyon and the Green Bay Packers. It looks like they're still actively out there looking for guys to put in that position. DeGuara is still a question mark. Tyler Davis, the Packers like him, but you don't know what you have in him. And so I look at that tight end position as another position of question, really, and the tight end that they just signed, Sal Cannella, recently from the USFL, and he's a guy that he's going to be wearing number 80 out there. But you look at you got Mercedes Lewis, who you hope continues to drink from the fountain of youth. DeGuara, like I mentioned, Tyler Davis, Dominique Daphne, and so you've got a room there. But again, the big question mark is Robert Tunyon, because it really does change the dynamic of that room with Robert Tunyon being healthy versus injured. And so a lot of question marks at key positions. That's one of the positions I'm going to be looking at. I'm also going to be looking at the safety depth. And that's something else that you want to see, because right now, over the last several years, Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage obviously have played the majority of snaps. And then you have a lot of question marks. You have Sean Davis, you have Ennis Gaines, you have Tariq Carpenter, the rookie out of Georgia Tech, Vernon Scott back there. The Packers picked up a kid from the Raiders. Again, I think this is a Bisaccia signing, Dallin Levitt. And so there's going to be some positional battles there that I'm going to be looking at as well. And really then, of course, and I think it sounds cliche, but I'm going to keep on looking at that wide receiver position to see where the different wideouts are. And when I talk about that, I mean, who's playing the X, who's playing the slot, who's playing the Y, or who's playing the Z, excuse me, because I think that's going to tell you rotationally where these players are, because you got a lot of question marks in that room as well. So this team is a talented football team, and going through the different positions like that, it sounds like there's lots of holes and question marks. There's really not, but there are a few really interesting battles and positional battles going into this training camp.
What about running back? We know the top two is Jones and Dillon, and Hill is coming back from his ACL from last year too, and one of the guys that made my top 5 of like undrafted or late round picks to kind of watch is the kid from Iowa, Tyler Goodson. Is that third? How important is trying to figure out that third running back spot for Green Bay this year?
Yeah, that's going to be important because injuries always happen. And right now, I think Green Bay, and I think it's no secret, Matt LaFleur is scheming this offense around the two-headed backfield of Dillon and Jones. And so you're right to look at Tyler Goodson because he brings a different type of dynamic. He's more of that scat back type of a player. The other player, it's interesting, that I was looking at, and then we saw glimpses of Patrick Taylor and kind of saw what he could do. But one of the other backs that I was looking at is B.J. Baylor, the kid out of Oregon State. And so, I think that's an important position, and I think it's a position that you need to have someone you can rely on, especially in this offense, and especially with the running game, but also with that pass pro. And I think that's an underrated part of being a running back in the Green Bay offense, is being able to pass protect for Aaron Rodgers. So, that's another area where I could see, okay, who's going to sneak up and possibly make a name for themselves as that third running back, as Kylan Hill recovers from that ACL. And again, we talked about Tunyon, we talked about Bakhtiari, we talked about Jenkins, and now we're talking about Hill. That opens up roster spots at the beginning of the year for some of these guys. So you could see some of these undrafted guys sneak in and make the original 53 because of these other guys being on the pup for a while.
So going back to the offensive line, Green Bay's, last couple of days, they've added a couple players here and there, another wide receiver now from the USFL. You mentioned the safety from the Raiders. There's veteran offensive linemen available, offensive tackles available. And last year, Green Bay, they brought in Dennis Kelly after training camp started, but so far they haven't. And, they're pretty thin with experience up at that line. Would you like to see Green Bay go out there and, you got Nate Solder, you got Eric Fisher. I mean, you want to go Jason Peters at 40 years old. I mean, would you like to see Green Bay go out there and bring one of those veterans in?
That's the position this year that I'm not as concerned about with going out and getting a veteran. When you invest 3 draft choices on that offensive line with Zach Tom and Sean Ryan and Rasheed Walker, I think you've got to see what these rookies can do. And so I don't think it's a sense of urgency as it has been in years past to find that guy. Could you possibly say the center position is when you look up and down the line, probably the one that has the biggest question marks? Yeah, you could say that, but I also I think you've got some flexibility there with Elton Jenkins, obviously, that could play a little bit of that. And I think Zach Tom could probably play a little bit of that. And so, it's a little bit nervous going into the season with Jake Hansen as that guy, but I just don't see that being the case. I don't see Green Bay saying we're going to keep just a pure backup center on the roster in Jake Hansen to back up Josh Myers. And so I don't feel that sense of urgency. I look up and down this depth of that offensive line, and we've talked about the question marks, obviously, but I like the depth. Now, the talent and the production, that's a question mark because you've got the rooks. And so, but when you look up and down that line, I see this being one of those positions where Green Bay, I see 2 for sure, maybe all 3 of the rookie offensive linemen making the final 53. So that push to get that veteran, not as urgent as it was in seasons past.
I know I asked you last week, but I know a week or 2 can make a difference here. Have you thought about maybe a surprise cut or a veteran who's playing for their job this week? I mean, Mason Crosby's on the pup list too, which kind of surprised a lot of people. And I know he's got like some bandages on his knees, so maybe he had some cleanup work or something like that. But I mean, you look at Mason Crosby starting training camp off the pup. Does that change your mindset about him and being available this year or being on the team this year?
No, I still say that he makes the team, and I still think that he gives the Green Bay Packers the best opportunity to win football games, especially late in the year. No, I mentioned him before. Vernon Scott is a guy that could get cut, and this is that's not a huge cut there. 3rd-year player out of TCU, so you could see somebody along those lines. And then going back, and we talked about this when you asked me, could a guy like Ty Summers get cut because some of the other linebackers there maybe stepping up, maybe an Isaiah McDuffie, that type of thing, or any of those guys. You look at Chauncey Manick and some other guys like that could make this push. But there's really, when you look up and down the roster, there's just Chris Barnes, could he be playing for a position? Potentially, absolutely, if he doesn't have a good camp and some other kids step up. You could see that. I don't see though that big name guy getting cut. I mean, I certainly don't see Sammy Watkins getting cut, and I know there's been some speculation that when you look at Romeo Doubs, and obviously you look at Watson, and the kid out of Nebraska, Torrey, You could hypothetically look at a Sammy Watkins going, but I just don't see it. So again, I think you might see, like I said, the Vernon Scotts of the world, the Ty Summers of the world, and really that's going to come down to special teams at that point in time. And they're at least Ty Summers stalwart on special teams, and so a guy that's really jumping off the charts at you. Some of these guys that Versace is bringing in, that could leapfrog. But I don't see that big name cut this offseason for the Green Bay Packers. I will say it though, and I've said it all along, I still see another veteran wide receiver signed to this team.
He's Joe DeGuano, dude. Appreciate the time, buddy, as always, and happy. Do we call this the new year? Or is the draft the new year? What do we call this? It's not.
You know what? I think draft is Christmas, and so this plays along right. It's a little bit longer between the NFL Christmas and the New Year's, but I think it's Happy New Year. I think the draft is Christmas because that's when all the presents get there under the tree. But I think now it is officially the new year, and we can start talking regular football. And now you're actually getting real stuff coming out of camps and real updates coming out of camp. So it's an exciting time of year. And again, nothing has taken the bloom for me off this Packer team. I think it's a very talented and deep team. I think they're probably one of the 4 or 5 teams, most talented teams in the NFL. But you got to keep an eye on 69, and you got to keep an eye on that offensive line. So that's the biggest question marks for me right now.
I agree. All right, dude. Hey, appreciate the time as always, and you have a fantastic week, and we'll catch up with you again soon, okay?
All right, and you, my friend, have an absolute blast in Green Bay, and kiss the altar for me, and I will be talking to you next week.
You got it, buddy. Sounds good. There you go. There's Joe DeGuano joining us here for a little bit, chatting some green and gold before the start of training camp. We got to take a quick break, and did you all hear about this Kyler Murray contract deal? So we know he's got his big deal, but do you hear about one of the mandates, one of the contract mandates that is in it? If you haven't, we'll tell you after this.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back after these words.
All right, time's running out. If you want some tickets, I got a few left. A few left for the Express game on Thursday night at Sports Talk Night. Thursday night, for crying out loud. So you want those tickets? Text me the word Express 715-830-1912 with your name. So give me your name too, so I know who they're going to, so I can put it on the envelope. But text me the word Express because won't be able to give it out any tomorrow or Thursday. So this is it right here, baby. All right, this is it here right now. So text those on over, the word Express, to 715-830-1912 for 4 tickets to the Express game for Sports Talk Night on Thursday. We'll be catching up with the Express coming up just past 8 o'clock here this morning too. Before that, though, did you all hear about Kyler Murray and one of the mandates in his contract? So Kyler Murray, we know, got a big deal, new big deal. We talked about that last week. The Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. Would rather have that sort of thing. But Ian Rappaport from the NFL Network was the one, I believe, was the first one to put this out there. But there's a part in it that requires him to study film for 4 hours per week during the season to stay in compliance with the new deal. Yeah, it's in the contract that he must study, has to study film for 4 hours per week to get to live up to that contract, to get that contract. It's the clause is labeled independent study addendum. A source who has seen the contract confirmed to ESPN here, and this was first reported by the NFL Network. According to the contract, Murray will need to study material provided to him by the club in order to prepare for the club's next upcoming game. Murray will receive, quote, credit for completing his film study, according to the contract. However, it states that the time that Murray spends in mandatory meetings studying does not count, and that Murray also won't receive credit if he does not, quote, personally study the provided material in good faith. I saw David Carr from the NFL Network make a comment about where's the camera on like Peyton Manning when that was announced. Where because Peyton Manning was notorious for studying. How many we hear about these quarterbacks and or even just players like Rasul Douglas, for crying out loud, film study. And for a quarterback who's going to get paid $230 million, they have to put it in his contract like, dude, you got to study at least 4 hours a week. You got to study at least 4 hours a week if you want to get this. And you're comfortable giving the man $230 million? I saw Andrew Brandt put this out there that he, in his 30 years of looking at NFL contracts, never seen this. And as he said, it's strange that they will give him $46 million a year on extension years, but yet they worry about 4 hours a week of studying. Now, Kyler Murray said last year to the New York Post that he doesn't look at film, that he has a great cognitive ability, that he doesn't have to, study film in that. So I'm sure, that was brought up. That like, no, you got to put a little bit of work in. All right, excuse me, I think I said New York Post. It was the New York Times. But yeah, in 2021, Murray told the New York Times that he tends to not watch film. I think I was blessed with the cognitive skills to just go out there and just see it before it happens. Not one of those guys that sit there and kill himself watching film. I don't sit there for 24 hours and break down this team and that team and watch every game because in my head, I see so much. Okay. I don't know if we'll see other contracts like this. I don't know if we'll see other, parts of a contract that will put that in there, but that definitely was like a excuse me sort of thing. But hey, I guess a little bit to the credit to the Cardinals, like forcing the hand of, dude, you want the money, you got to study, you got to put the study time in, I guess. But then at the same time, it's like, but if you're that concerned, you want to be shelling all that money out? I don't know. But weird nugget with that Kyler Murray contract. It was, I guess, leaked or reported out there yesterday. Okay, so Shot Clock's going to cut me off here in about a minute or so. Coming up next hour, we're going to start to preview the Badger football team. We'll do some position preview series with our dude, Mr. RJ Cardinal, from the Zone in Madison. We'll take a look at a couple positions as we inch closer and closer to kickoff for the college football season. Before that, though, we'll chat with the Express. Coming up at 8:05, it is Sports Talk night. So reminder, if you want 4 tickets to the game on Thursday night, you have to text the word Express, but you also have to give me your name. I can't just, I got to put your name on an envelope, right? So give me your name for 4 tickets when you text in the word Express. It's your last day to do so. Got a few left. But again, that number to text, 715-830-1912. Should be a lot of fun at the ballpark on Thursday. Got a little Thirsty Thursday action. I know it's Willy Wonka night. Express, hopefully inching closer to getting that playoff berth, clinching the second half championship. You're looking at schedules. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it 9 home games left of the regular season? So time's running out to get to the ballpark. All right. So hopefully we'll see you Thursday night. You can even meet the famous man, G-Man himself. Right, G-Man? That's exactly right. All right. So we'll chat with the Express coming up here in just a few minutes, and then we'll get some Badger talk. But don't forget, I'm still looking for, for Brewers, we went through a list from MLB.com of potentially available power hitters. You have a top 2? You have a top 2 that's not Juan Soto. Send those babies on over too. And your prediction for Brewers Twins. 2-game series begins today in Milwaukee. All right, one more hour left. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk, 105.1, 790 AM. Sports Talk, 105.1, with the very latest local news.
We continue to wait for more answers about a deadly wreck involving a Wisconsin state senator, as it's the Ashland Police Department that says Senator Janet Bewley pulled out in front of a car on Friday and was involved in a crash. That crash sent the car into oncoming traffic. Officers say a mom and her baby died in the crash. Bewley, who is a top Democrat in the Wisconsin Senate, was not injured. Investigators say it does not appear alcohol was a factor. Police not recommending charges in the case. Nearer to us, there's a search in Eau Claire for a hit-and-run driver who police say clipped a person in a wheelchair. This happened over the weekend, Sunday night, north of the city's downtown area. Eau Claire police say they have security camera video of the crash, saying it shows a white Chevy Equinox hitting a person then speeding away. The person in the wheelchair had to be taken to the hospital for treatment. We continue to look at the political stage, and there's one less hat in the ring. Bad news, good news from you. Bad news, good news comes from Democratic candidate Tom Nelson. In a brief statement released to social media Monday, the Outagamie County exec announced his campaign is over. So how does he break it down in terms of that bad good news?
So that's the bad news. The good news is I'm proud to say that the progressive vote is consolidated and the progressive family is one, because today I'm endorsing Mandela Barnes for the U.S. Senate.
Nelson was polling behind Barnes, Bucks executive Alex Lassery, and state treasurer Sarah Godlewski. The winner of the August Democratic primary will face Republican U.S. Senator Ron Johnson in November. Closer to us, we go around that meeting table, and Dunn County considers an advisory referendum on health care. The county board will decide tomorrow if it wants to put a question on the November ballot asking you, voters, if you want to see the federal government create a single-payer system of health care. The question is just advisory, so nothing will change no matter what voters say this time, just getting kind of a finger on the pulse. But county board members say they want to gauge the public's interest in the idea. And it's about time we checked in with some thieves from Naples. They made off with a tourist's watch at gunpoint, but then decided, let's take it back. Why?
It happened in Naples, Italy last week, where the mugger took the watch from a pair of tourists enjoying a drink after the thief apparently realized the watch wasn't a $300,000 Swiss-made Richard Mille. The thief's partner returned it to the tourist with an apology. The entire thing was caught on security camera. The tourist didn't seem terribly upset, though, as he stayed the entire time to finish his drink. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Hey, we're coming up on fall here pretty soon. Sounds like time for another chili cook-off. And Casper's already planning his method to cheat. Instead of playing fair like everybody else, him and G-Man came up with a recipe. Get this, it's a bowl, but it's a
$300,000 Swiss-made Richard Mille.
Fine, you go ahead and play dirty. I'll just stay here and
to finish his drink.
For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
Most of today will be staying dry, but we'll have some intervals of clouds and sun to take us through the morning and into the afternoon as our temperatures only make the climb to the upper 70s and low 80s with a good bit of humidity working in. Later on tonight, we'll have a better chance at some showers and possibly a thunderstorm with our lows dipping to the low 60s. This will give way to clear conditions going into tomorrow morning, possibly starting off with a little bit of fog, but temperatures only making the climb once again to the upper 70s and low 80s. I'm the Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike Dandria.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Staples has everything you need for school at prices that won't hold you back. Don't send your kids back to school. Send them forward at Staples, the working and learning store.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the,
Welcome to the Dan Kasper Show.
Passion?
I live and breathe sports. It's my life. It's also a problem.
Dedication?
You deserve the best of the best. That's why I grind it out every day to give you the best show possible.
Knowledge?
Cover 2 defense should not have been played in that situation. Stack the box, put 8 guys up there, and dare them to throw it.
Entertaining?
They pay me a little bit to talk, but the swagger, I give them for free.
I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Wisconsin's premier sports talk, The Dan Kasper Show.
Yeah, baby. Now, let's get it on.
The Dan Kasper Show is on air right now.
What time is it? Dan. Here's your guy, Dan Kasper.
So light 'em up.
Here we go, third hour kicking off on this Grind My Gears Tuesday. Appreciate everybody tuning in wherever you are tuning in and however you are tuning in. Radio dials, there's 2 of those, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also got Sports Talk 1051.com where you can stream it or get the YouTube live video stream link. That's available up there too. And of course, the Google and Alexa home devices and the Sports Talk app. Coming up this hour, we will catch up with our good friend, Mr. RJ Cardinal, the Zone in Madison. Do some position previews and start to take a look at this Badger football team as we inch closer and closer to the start of the college football season. I know we got Big Ten days coming, or Big Ten media days, coming up here and going on and that. And But all the talk with training camp and the NFL getting going, don't forget college football. And it's right around the corner here too. So we'll catch up and do some position previews and with Mr. RJ Cardinal. Express must hopefully they'll be stopping by here in just a little bit. But again, reminder, our night is this Thursday, a little Thirsty Thursday action, sports talk night. So some of you have been texting in. I shouldn't say some, but quite a few of you have been texting in. I will text you back to make sure that it is confirmed and where you can pick up your tickets. So keep texting in at 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Text in the word express, but also give me your first and last name too, so I can put it on the envelope. Okay. That way nobody else takes it from you. So, but text the word express along with your name. Here's a grind my gears. What grinds my gears is when people rent vehicles and don't clean them when they return them. People, you're only making more work and it's going to cost you money because companies charge cleaning fees. There's a grind my gears from somebody this morning. Yeah, you got anything else that you want that's grinding your gears? Got to get it off your chest. You were, maybe makes you feel a little bit better. Text those babies on over. Okay, text those babies on over. Get it out in the open. That's what we're here for. Quick updates with the Northwoods League, standings and for the Express here. I know they've got the Players Showcase, the Major Leagues Dreams Showcase that's going on right now for these couple days here. But we've got Dale Varsho is going to be will manage the home team for this showcase, but the home team will be made up of players mainly from Fond du Lac, Eau Claire, Green Bay, Rockford, St. Cloud. So that's pretty darn cool that Mr. Varsho will be managing that over there. So they've got the showcase that's been, yesterday, today. I was going to say Brewers, but the Express, they will be back in action going up against Duluth, doubleheader action tomorrow, and then back home against Wilmer for 2 games before they're off on the road this coming weekend. And as we mentioned, you're looking at the schedule here for the Express. 2, 3. Was it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Yeah, 8 games going on here. I'm trying to count on my schedule up there on the board there. So, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Not 8? No, 9. Let's redo this all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Good Lord, I'm learning how to count. But so just 9 home games left for the Express. Well, this is a perfect opportunity for you to hit the ballpark at Carson Park on Thursday. The Express holding on to first place, 11-5, 1.5 games up over the Lacrosse Loggers. So, I mean, let's make Carson Park, loud and proud. You know what I mean? Like, let's make that a home field advantage for the Express. This is a dang fun team. This is a dang good team. If you haven't been out to the ballpark yet, if you haven't, been to a game yet, you're missing out. From our conversations with Mr. Toyson, with Sammy, with Dale, they talk about how fun this team is. And if you're following along on social media, you can kind of see that. If you've been in the ballpark, you've seen it. They're a fun team, but they're a really good team too. A team that, hey, maybe can get a championship. And when you look at it, when they got Wilmer, the Stingers, Wilmer's a good team too. They're 12-3 in this second half. So, I mean, this 2-game series on Thursday and Friday, that's gonna be a good game. That's gonna be a good couple games right there. But let's cheer on the Express to get that second half championship and get into the postseason. And then maybe we can bring in a championship, right? Let's do it, man. Let's do it. So, let me go. Okay, got some more text coming in for those Express tickets. Okay, I got to minimize that so I don't get so I don't continue to get distracted right there. But yeah, just kind of looking at some of the stuff that's on the docket here for the Express. So, and I know we got I-94, our sister stations night, coming up as well. So got a couple more opportunities there. But what do we got here for the 26? Okay. Interesting. All right. Yeah. Just kind of looking at the rest, if we got any more games against lacrosse on the schedule for the Express, and it doesn't look like it. No, doesn't look like it. Just Wilmer, then they got Rochester, then they got the Showcase, then they got Waterloo, Bismarck, Minnesota Duluth. Yeah, so they don't have any more games going up against the lacrosse loggers. So got to take care of business. Take care of business at home for the Express. Let's get her done, baby. Let's get her done. All right, last call for those tickets. You got to text me on over. So Brewers dropping game 4 in their 4-game series yesterday last night against the Rockies. Aaron Ashby, though, he didn't pitch like a dude who deserved to lose that game. First game since the announcement of his new contract out there. Goes 7 innings, 2 earned runs, but still gets charged with the loss because, well, he didn't get any help from the Brewers offense. And that's a credit to Freeland, who picked up the win, his 5th win of the season. Longest time he was holding the Brewers to just 2 hits, holding the Brewers to 4 hits, no runs across the board for the Brew Crew last night. So they dropped game 4 of that series. They don't get the 4-game sweep, but definitely Aaron Ashby did not pitch like a losing pitcher. But he did perhaps give us even more glimpses of what the future could be like with Aaron Ashby. You know, he's only got 32 games under his belt. 32 big league games under his belt. Still a lot of inexperience, still a little bit raw. He's been a little inconsistent at times, but what do you expect from a younger pitcher? He's been thrust into starting spots. He's been asked to come out of the bullpen. Got to prepare differently. But if this is the type of pitcher we're going to see, and I know it's just 1 game, but we've seen other parts of Aaron Ashby's game. We've seen other performances where I think you could see why the Brewers wanted to extend him, get him done, because the potential is there for Aaron Ashby to be a really, really good pitcher in the major leagues. And we saw a glimpse of that last night. He set career highs for innings with 7, career highs with pitching, with pitches, 111. And maybe, you know, I know he said after the game too, you felt a little bit more comfort out there. And maybe it's something like, you don't want to get complacent. And that's not what I'm trying to get at. Like, you know, I don't think you don't want to get too comfortable, but, you know, kind of comfortable. It's like, hey, I got a new deal. You know, I'm feeling good. I'm going to be around here for a while. Maybe it takes a little bit of that pressure off to like, hey, I got to keep, you know, performing at a high level just to hold on to my job, just to keep my job. And maybe it takes a little bit of that off, but at the same time, there's still got to be that pressure. It's like, all right, now I got to live up to that contract. I still got to continue to get better. I'm on a playoff contending team here. I'm on a World Series, a team that has World Series aspirations. So you don't want to be too complacent, but maybe it takes a little bit of the, you know, the looking over the shoulder part away from him, knowing that the Brewers have invested in him, they believe in him, and he's going to have a job there for the foreseeable future. Ethan Small would probably like to be in that same category as Aaron Ashby, the next young pitcher to make a name for himself with the big league club, get a contract in the next year or so. He's going to get the start for the Brew Crew tonight against the Twinnies. It's his 2nd start. If you remember back in May, he had a start against the Cubbies. Only went 2 2/3. But he gets another shot tonight. And if you look at the Brewers' top prospect rankings, Ethan Small is a top 10 prospect for the Brewers. Number 8, he is the highest pitcher on this list for the Brewers. Everybody else is a position player, mostly outfielders. But Ethan Small is the highest rated pitcher prospect for the Brewers, left-handed pitcher. So, I mean, Brewers, they like him a lot. 25 years old. Goes out there, hopefully, and maybe, we can see some of the good stuff. See the good Ethan Small. I mean, if we see that, if Ethan Small kind of plays up to that potential, I know we're focusing a lot on the Corbin Burnes and Brandon Woodruff era, and we absolutely should be. But, they're kind of probably looking at like, okay, Ethan Small, is he our next youngster? Is he our next young starting pitcher that maybe we have a future with? So this is an opportunity for Ethan Small to go out there and say, yes, I am, man. I can be the next Freddie. I can be the next Aaron Ashby. The next crop of younger pitchers, younger starting pitchers coming in. So it's a heck of an opportunity for Ethan Small tonight to kind of bounce back and showcase his skill set, showcase what he has. Obviously not a lot of film on him, especially with the Twinnies there. Uncommon opponent, but heck of an opportunity for Ethan Small. And we'll see what the future holds for him. And then the Brewers, they get Corbin Burnes getting the start on the getaway day tomorrow. But Jackson Chourio, the number one prospect for the Milwaukee Brewers, he just got promoted to advance to A. He's just 18 years old. Just 18 years old. And if you've been kind of following, and I know this would be a great topic too for Brandon on Friday, because he knows this farm system like the back of his hand. But Chourio was promoted youngest player at high A. He is the youngest player at high A. He's headed to Wisconsin, where he's going to join the Timber Rattlers. So if anybody wants to go check him out, this exciting young prospect, he's going to be with the Timber Rattlers starting today. But before his promotion, he was second in the Carolina League with a 973 OPS, a 600 slugging percentage. And like we said, he's the youngest player on Major League Baseball's Pipeline Top 100 list, where he ranks 37th. And the only 18-year-old at high A. So, Mr. Jackson Chourio, keep that name in the back of your mind. He's an outfielder, the number one prospect for the Brewers. But this might be a youngster that Brewers fans might want to kind of, keep tabs on and follow his minor league career. See, maybe how fast he can advance up to the minor leagues. I think we're all thinking about like Keston here are advanced fairly quickly up the minor leagues, quicker than a lot of people, right? Not everybody's going to be the Juan Sotos or those Bryce Harpers that, or Alex Rodriguez, those type of players hitting the major leagues at 18, 19 years old. But this kid's pretty darn exciting. And when you're looking at, we went through like the on-base percentage and his slugging, or his OPS and his slugging. At Carolina, he was hitting 324 in 62 games, 12 home runs, 47 RBIs. And in rookie ball in 2021, he was hitting 296 with an OPS of an 833. This kid's got some talent. I'm excited to see the future with him. And, I'm sure a lot of teams that maybe, Brewers, if they're inquiring about some possible trade candidates, a lot of those teams might be saying, we want Jackson. Depending on who the player is, I'm sure teams, their first response to like the Brewers say, oh, who do you want? I'm sure Jackson might be on the list for a lot of these teams, because this dude he's been lights out so far. And hopefully it continues, because I would love to see him in a Brewers uniform. All right, let's take a quick break. Coming up, we're going to start to preview this Badger football team. Take a look at a couple different position groups, kind of do a little bit of assessments with Mr. RJ Cardinal from the Zone in Madison. We are inching closer and closer to kickoff for the college football season. We've got Big Ten Media Days, so let's chat some Badgers. RJ Cardinal, he's up after these quick words.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
I know it's summer, and the last thing you're probably thinking about right now is the fall and winter months. But if you're a hunter, those months are always on your mind. Right now, you're scouting and game planning for the next hunting season. Deer, duck, turkey, bear. You're checking those trail cameras and getting those food plots ready. But while you focus on that part of your preparation for the next hunting season, don't forget about your gear, specifically that hunting rifle or shotgun. If you're looking for a new hunting rifle or shotgun, look no further than Tilden Gun. There's no debating it. Tilden Gun has the best selection in the Chippewa Valley, all at the best price. Whether you're looking for new or used, ammo or accessories, Tilden Gun has the selection to fit your needs for the upcoming hunting season. Stop in and visit with Sean, and he'll help you find just what you're looking for. And you can also visit tildengun.com to see what they all have to offer. Summer is going to fly on by, people, and before you know it, it's hunting season. Make sure you're ready for the upcoming hunting season with the help from Tilden Gun.
Get your vehicle in gear this summer with 11% off everything at Menards. Valvoline Daily Protection Motor Oil improves fuel economy while protecting against engine wear. Valvoline oils are formulated with advanced additives for year-round engine protection. All Valvoline motor oil is 11% off. Check out Menards Automotive Department today. Good through July 31st. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
With a wholesale formula seminar, discover how to start your own Amazon business.
Hey everyone, Ryan and Karen Pottinger here.
Because of the wholesale formula, last year we ran our business while we traveled to and lived in 4 different countries.
Hi, Ian Bauer. My first year averaged $45,000 a month in sales. Now I'm at $90,000 a month and hardly working.
Hi, I'm Amy Sherlock. I attended the Wholesale Formula seminar, and I'm now doing $175,000 in sales per month.
Hey, I'm Rick Manello. 2 years after attending the Wholesale Formula seminar, I was able to sell my Amazon business for over $400,000.
Whether you have a business and want to sell more on Amazon, retired, or just need extra money, America's Amazon expert Dylan Frost will show you how. Only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. That's right. Discover the easy way to make money on Amazon with Dylan Frost's The Wholesale Formula 2-hour seminar, Tuesday, August 2nd at 2 p.m. for the greater Eau Claire area. Register at thewholesaleformula.com.
Customer service. Those are the 2 words that my grandma kept coming back to when she was telling me about her experience with Carpet City Flooring Center. The carpet looks amazing in her living room, but it was working with the entire team from Carpet City Flooring Center that she still can't stop talking about. The process was simple thanks to the entire team there. They drove out to my grandma's house, did the measuring, gave her a quote, and they took a look at some samples. Then came the install. Not only did they do a fantastic job of installing the carpet, but the one thing that stood out to Grandma, they vacuumed after they completed the job. She kept going on about how the last time she got new carpet replaced from another place, how they didn't even clean up. Customer service. You can expect to find amazing customer service at Carpet City Flooring Center because that's who they are. They treat people the right way. So if you're looking at getting a new floor in your home, take it from Grandma, because like my grandma always told me growing up, because Grandma said so. And we never, ever argue with what Grandma says. Check out Carpet City Flooring Center today, located at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire. Summer is here, which means some summer road trips and vacations might be in your future. But as we can all see, those road trips might cost a little bit more this year. That means you'll need to save a little bit more money in getting your vehicle ready for those road trips. So what's on your list of things to get done for your vehicle before you head out on the road? Replacing a part? New tires? Maybe an oil change? What if I told you that you could do all of that in one place instead of taking it to a bunch of different places? Guess what? You can with ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire. Whatever part you're looking for your vehicle, check out ASAP Used Auto Parts. And if they don't have it, they will do their very best to find just what you're looking for. And when it comes to oil changes, tires, and even batteries, hey, they got you covered too. All at the best deals in the area. So when you're planning your summer vacations and road trips and you're trying to figure out your budget, give ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire a visit. They can help you save some money in your wallet. That way you'll have a little bit extra for your vacation. Visit ASAP Used Auto Parts today at 1330 Menominee Street in Eau Claire.
I talk a lot about the importance of good defense on the field or on the basketball court, but what about defending your home turf? I believe home turf should be the safest place on earth for every family, which is why I use and I strongly recommend Simply Safe Home Security. Simply Safe is advanced whole home security that puts the family's safety first. You can customize the perfect system for your home in just a couple of minutes. SimplySafeDan.com. Go today, get 20% off with interactive monitoring. SimplySafeDan.com.
From the 13th century Dutch, who'd hit a leather ball with a stick, to today's golfers using clubs designed with artificial intelligence, sports has been our passion, and nobody shares that passion more than he does.
The Dan Kasper Show.
Football season is right around the corner. I know high schools will be kicking up here fairly quickly. We've got the NFL training camps going on, and also college football is going to be starting here pretty soon. So let's start to preview this Badger football team with our expert, Mr. R.J. Cardinal from the Zone in Madison. RJ, is football season starting to hit you yet? Is it starting to kind of creep in there a little bit? Or are you still in like summer baseball mode right now?
I'd still like to be in summer baseball mode, but we're 1 week away from reporting to camp, so it's becoming football season rather quick.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I want to do some previews here with some positions if you're up for that, RJ. You good with kind of?
I mean, I guess we can. What else is there to do?
we got Big Ten Media Days coming up, so I mean, I'm starting to get into the college football mode.
Oh, absolutely. We actually have Zach Heilprin and Ben Kenny, producer for Bill Michaels' show, are down in Indianapolis right now, and are hopefully once they get availability, getting some sound from Big Ten coaches and players for over the next couple of days here.
Sweet deal. So I want to start off with the wide receivers here, RJ. Give us a breakdown of this wide receiver group. We know, like Danny Davis and those guys no longer with the ball club. So how does this wide receiving group look like for the Badgers this year?
Well, it's young both in experience and in class. You have some juniors who have been around in terms of Chimere Dike, and Stephen Bracey, but we've seen both of them not even get that many snaps due to the fact that, you had some more seniored wide receivers that, got more snaps for the sole reason that they were seniors, and at least two of them were ones that produced. But now you have guys like DK, who I think almost any fan who's watched a Badger game has seen the ability he has in terms of being able to make the catches and make the plays. You have a guy that people are impressed with in terms of the name Skylar Bell. You have Dean Ingram, who moved over from DB to wide receiver. Another name people are pretty excited about in Marcus Allen. Not the really old running back, but a different guy, crazy. But then you also have Keontez Lewis, the transfer from UCLA, who is going to be a sophomore this year. Played at UCLA in 11 games, but did not record a reception, but was still a highly regarded recruit out of Illinois, and was actually the number 7 overall prospect out of Illinois, and ended up having a nice little career out of East St. Louis High School. So hopefully, that translates into him actually getting a chance here. It'll be interesting to see how the depth chart falls, because I'm not really sure that's set. And I mean, any website you go to that has a depth chart listed as of right now, it'll be pretty much a best guess based on, playing experience within the Badgers. So it'll be interesting to see how this wide receiver core plays out, and it seems pretty deep. But like I said, outside of a few snaps from proven names we've heard of, and not sure how proven you want to say, but names we've seen guys make plays on the field. After that, there's a lot of potential in some younger guys that are going to be redshirt freshmen this year that people are expecting a lot of.
And sticking on the offensive side here, what about that tight end group? I mean, what do the weapons overall besides running back look like for Graham Mertz this year? Because I feel like a lot of people are really putting the spotlight on Graham Mertz to show something this year.
Yeah, and with that, their names, but due to injury and what have you, I mean, Cam Large was the only healthy tight end for a while there last year after Ferguson. So, I mean, you go down the list, and they're names and names that at some point you'd like to see do something, not just be, oh, yeah, I've heard that guy's name called a couple of times. You got Hayden Rucci, who, has had some injury problems here and there. Clay Cundiff, Jack Eichenbach, and Jalen Franklin are really guys. And that's just 4 guys right there, and that's not even naming Cam Large, who had to step into a role last year due to injuries to a lot of these guys. So those are guys who are juniors and seniors who really all the potential in the world was there when they were recruited, and due to injury and whatnot, they were not able to be on the field all that much. Then along with your underclassmen in Cam Large, you got Cole Dakovich out of Waukesha, and then Jack Pugh, I forget how to say it, but he's a redshirt freshman out of Columbus, Ohio. So it's pretty deep, but unproven, and we've seen plays out of these guys where they are capable of being a receiving tight end, and I think a lot of these guys are going to be the kind of guy who will be able to deplete somebody coming off an edge if they're given the opportunity. So I think you have some multifaceted tight ends who are going to be able to help in the run game and in the passing game as long as they can stay healthy. Because if you end up with another 3 to 4 guys who get injured, you're down to only 3 or 4 healthy tight ends, and in a good year, Badgers only use 2 or 3. They don't go too far into the depth chart, but right now it's something where there's the potential there for these tight ends. Due to injury, though, we just haven't seen it.
RJ Cardinal, our Badger analyst, joining us here this morning. So we know about Mr. Allen. Have you heard anything about Ches Malusi and his recovery so far?
I know they're taking it slow. I'm not exactly sure where he is in that, but I mean, I'd much rather have a guy who's coming off an ACL tear take his time, not rush him back to play one game in a season and then have another setback. It's like there's a reason the Badgers don't do a traditional spring game anymore, and that's because Lee Evans tore his ACL in a spring game in the spring of 2002, missed the entire 2002 season, and almost missed 2003 because of fluid buildup in the knee and all that, and not necessarily trying to push him to get back early. But it's one of those, don't try to rush it. If it's there, and I mean, I've seen interviews where Malusi has said, I'm feeling at X%, but the training staff really wants me to get to whatever percent before they want to see me start doing more football related activities. So it sounds like there's two sides of the story. One says he's ready to go. The other's like, pump the brakes, kid. Let's get you fully healthy first. So I'm guessing we'll find out where that is come next week. And hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later. But I mean, that was a later in the year injury. So it'll be interesting to see when exactly it come back. And I mean, we've seen running backs before come back, and I mean, granted, Peterson's his own thing.
Right.
Come
Right.
back in like 7 or 8 months, whatever it was, and it was like, geez, and be better than ever. It looked like, but yeah. So people's bodies heal differently, and hopefully we have him at least for Ohio State. You can have a little bit of a deeper running back room there, but yeah, it'll hopefully we get him back sooner or later.
I mean, when I was listening to you describe Lee Evans, I thought you were talking about David Bakhtiari there for a little bit. Was you know,
yeah, well, like to me, like it's been the same injury between Lee Evans and Bakhtiari there. You know, and it's through no fault of theirs, and it's can't say it's the doctor's fault. Sometimes guys' knees just, you know, for one reason or another, the body reacts differently, and it takes a little while to come back. Now, granted, Lee Evans happened in college and wasn't a burden on a payroll somewhere.
Right.
But it's eerily similar because that fluid is just keep coming in that knee of Bakhtiari. So it really reminded me of that Lee Evans injury. And honestly, I would have been fine had they not tried to bring Bakhtiari back at all last year. And hopefully, and who knows, maybe we would be talking about him not being on the PUP list right now.
Mm-hmm.
But that can also be it's camp PUP list. I mean, he can come off that at any point in time. You know,
Right.
It could be next week, and we're like, oh, well, that wasn't so bad.
Exactly. Yep. I totally agree with you, man. Sticking with the running back. So if Chez isn't the next one up, who would be the next one up behind Braylon Allen?
You go to Isaac Garendo. There's another guy who we've seen flashes from, but that turns right into the next thing we seem to be saying with every position. Injuries happen. Because then you go, maybe Julius Davis. I don't know. You know, that's one of those. He's appeared to be in the doghouse every time, every season. Don't know why. We've seen him fumble once, but you know, it's another new running backs coach there, so we'll see where that goes. And then you also have Brady Schipper, who has done awesome in, I don't want to call it garbage time, but it is, and looked well keeping the ball secure and that, and who really knows what we're going to expect from the fullback position. It's a very young group. Jackson Aker from Verona here, who was a feature back at Verona, has capabilities to, I believe, be able to be a running back if he needs to step in. I'm not sure how much weight he's put on here. Got to school. And it also depends on where they list. Because I think on the official Wisconsin roster, he's a running back. But then if you look at rosters on every other website, they're already assuming he's going to be the number one fullback. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Then there's a couple of guys who, honestly, I don't know much about because you haven't had to go past a Chanel for a couple of years here at the fullback position. So hopefully I don't butcher this name. Riley Nowakowski, sorry, and Garrison Soliday. So we'll see what's up with those guys, and hopefully they can, both are around 235, and hopefully we see something there where these guys are able to step up and continue a tradition of Wisconsin fullback.
He's RJ Cardinal, our Badger analyst, joining us here this morning. To kind of wrap up the position preview here. We've talked wide receivers and and tight ends on offensively. Looking at the offensive line now, obviously, that we know Wisconsin offensive line history. We talked about Cormac Sampson leaving the program, a versatile offensive lineman. So, I mean, looking at this group, RJ, is this just another typical solid Wisconsin offensive line, or is there some question marks surrounding this group this year?
There are some question marks, and part of it is the fact you've switched offensive line coaches. Osted has said we're going to be playing the guys at the positions they were recruited for. So it sounds like we're not just putting the best 5 guys out there. So it's not like we're running out a center and 4 tackles anymore. A guy will be playing whatever position he was recruited to be playing. If you're a tackle, you're either going to be playing right or left tackle. If you're an interior lineman, that's where I think you could see a switch. If a guy has the ability to play center, you're going to play center. If you're recruited as an interior lineman, you're going to be playing guard or center. And it's not just about being the best, because at some point something has to change with the old line. So we've seen the talent there, and I did see over the last week, Joe Tippmann was added to the Remington Award list for center, and we'll see how that goes. But it's one of those. You have guys who have the potential, and it'll be interesting to see moving forward under Bosted the maturation of the Wisconsin O-line, because we've seen that the Badgers have been able to get good recruits, but it doesn't seem we have seen them improve year over year. It's just, hey, we're the Wisconsin O-line, and that does okay. Our running backs are still doing well, but I'm not sure we have had the best pass protection over the past couple of seasons. So I'm interested to watch Bosted and how he molds this offensive line into a more complete offensive line, and hopefully we can get back to a scenario where the Wisconsin offensive line in the NFL are each the top paid guy at each of the 5 positions.
In one player on that line that I'm kind of curious about, RJ, and we haven't heard a whole lot about, I feel like, since he was recruited with like Graham Mertz, was Logan Brown. And I know, is he starting at right tackle this year? But I feel like that was a 5-star kid that came in, and a lot of talk and excitement. And just kind of hearing you talk about that, is that like another example of like, these kids coming in highly ranked and maybe just not playing up to that level or not getting better at that at their position?
He is also one that has been hit by the injury bug. Crazy how that seems to be a theme on the offense so far. So like there's been that. He hasn't, according to the last coach, according to Rudolph, wasn't one of the best 5 overall guys to be making it. We also have probably Jack Nelson, who was playing a lot of guard, moving out to tackle. So we'll see what's going on there. But yeah, that's one. Now, sure, junior injuries and seniority kind of have been his Achilles heel. So we'll see where he's at. You got Jack Nelson there at left tackle. Joe Tippmann, like I said, he's on the Remington watch list, and we'll see where other people fill in. I mean, you got another big name in Tyler Beach, Nolan Rucci. You got another bench wall on the team here, Barrett Nelson, Riley Mallman. Like, there's some younger guys here who are looked well upon, and it'll just be interesting to see how this vets out. And it's one of those things. I have complete trust in whatever Bob Bosta trots out there in week one, because those guys each earn their spot at their position. They're not just looked at the best overall and we'll throw you in there. So I think we'll see improved O-line play this year. And, it's something where maybe just the guy at the head, there was a change needed to see improvement, not necessarily a change in personnel.
He's RJ Cardinal. Dude knows his stuff. Appreciate the time, buddy. And next week, let's talk a little defense with this group if you're up for it.
And, I guess I could do it. Twist my arm. I might pick up next week. I might not.
Well, we'll just play it by ear, right? We'll see what happens. RJ, appreciate it, buddy. Have a good week. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely. We'll see you next week.
You got it. There you go. There's RJ Cardinal dropping some knowledge on this Badger offensive team. We'll focus on the defense next week as we inch a little bit closer and closer and closer to kickoff for college football. All right, final break. Coming up next, we'll cover the bases, all that fun stuff.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
The answer is quite simple to the question, why choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number? Well, because every great day starts the night before. Find out about your sleep number. My sleep number is 75, by the way, but also because fireworks, days at the beach, family barbecues, they're even better when you've had a great night's sleep. Also, Sleep IQ data shows sleepers who use their 360 smart bed technology get almost 30 minutes more restful sleep per night. You extend that out to the entire year, and you're talking over 170 hours. You want to make sure that you take precautions when you get ready to go to bed. These hot, humid summer nights, no easy task. They have tips to help you with the sleep environment. They've thought of everything. Why choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number? Because every great day starts the night before. Save $500 on the Sleep Number 360 C4 Smart Bed Queen, now just $1,299. At Sleep Number stores, sleepnumber.com/Patrick.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. During every Brewers home game, fans will have the chance to win a brand new 2022 Toyota Tundra, courtesy of your Wisconsin Toyota dealers. Visit brewers.com/Toyota to enter. For more information on the Toyota vehicle for you, visit toyota.com. Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org.
ServiceMaster of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewaValley.com. With a wholesale formula seminar, discover how to start your own Amazon business.
Hey everyone, Ryan and Karen Pottinger here.
Because of the wholesale formula, last year we ran our business while we traveled to and lived in 4 different countries.
Hi, Ian Bauer. My first year averaged $45,000 a month in sales. Now I'm at $90,000 a month and hardly working.
Hi, I'm Amy Sherlock. I attended the Wholesale Formula seminar, and I'm now doing $175,000 in sales per month.
Hey, Emric Manello. 2 years after attending the Wholesale Formula seminar, I was able to sell my Amazon business for over $400,000.
Whether you have a business and want to sell more on Amazon, retired, or just need extra money, America's Amazon expert Dylan Frost will show you how. Only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. That's right. Discover the easy way to make money on Amazon with Dylan Frost's The Wholesale Formula 2-hour seminar, Tuesday, August 2nd at 2 p.m. for the greater Eau Claire area. Register at thewholesaleformula.com.
What's something you can't get for $14.99?
A ticket for a day at the water park? Something you can get for $14.99? A month of unlimited car washes at Clean and Classy. Something you can't do in 5 minutes? Get through the mega water slide line. Something you can do in 5 minutes? Get a spring clean car at Clean and Classy on West Claremont and off Hastings on Brackett Avenue. Wash your car more than once a month? A monthly pass is going to save you money. Make your car clean and classy.
And now a message from Discover about customer service and common sense. When you have credit card questions, it's nice to have them answered by a real live person. You know, a human being who's actually understanding your issues and works to resolve them. Someone with a knack for helping others and has a pulse. In other words, what you don't need is a robot. And that's why Discover offers helpful U.S.-based representatives available 24/7. It's live customer service. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Say hello to Zoom One. Zoom One brings together Zoom meetings, chat, whiteboard, phone, and more, all in one place to streamline your team's communications so you can simplify the way you work, whether you're in the office, at home, or a mix of both. Get more of the Zoom you know and love with meetings, chat, whiteboard, and phone bundled together into Zoom One. Find out more at zoom.com/one. Zoom One features vary by plan.
He loves to talk sports. He also likes to name his kids after sports, which is why he has a daughter named Goalpost and a son named Foul Balls.
He's seriously crazy.
The Dan Kasper Show.
Wrapping things up here this morning before we are heading on to the road, off the road, heading on the road. There we go. Heading on the road to Green Bay for training camp tomorrow and Thursday morning. We'll be back in time for the Express night Thursday nights. So we'll be seeing you all at the game. Might be running on some fumes at that point, but hey, it's a good thing it's Thirsty Thursday at the Express game Thursday night, right? So be a busy next couple of days here, but tomorrow morning we will be broadcasting from Green Bay, literally in like the shadows of Lambeau Field. So if anybody's driving down Lombardi Avenue on your way to maybe go check out some practice or bring the kiddos over with their bikes, you might see us in the backyard in one of those Packer houses. All right, we'll have some banners and signage up so you can maybe honk the horn and say hello or tip the cap or anything like that. So we do have some stuff planned. We do have some guests planned. I'll tell you a couple of them. I'm not going to tell you everything, but we've got the voice of the Packers, Wayne Larrivee. He's going to be stopping by tomorrow morning before practice, so you'll hear him. Tomorrow morning, scheduled to appear, I should say. Scheduled to appear is Mr. Wayne Larrivee, the voice of the Packers. Our good friend Rob Domofsky will also be stopping by, so we'll chat with him, Packers insider for ESPN, and we got some other stuff planned coming up too. So don't forget, some of this will be exclusive content for our dedicated listeners out there, and if you want access to that for free, he's got to go to sportstalk1051.com and either sign up for the Green and Gold Chalk Talk newsletter on there or click on that Nation tab and you can sign up through there too. But should be a lot of fun and looking forward to it tomorrow. Literally like Lambeau Field in the foreground. Hopefully there's no rain or anything like that and we could do it right outside there. So should be a lot of fun. Brewers will be back in action tonight, taking on the Twins of Minnesota. 7:10 first pitch. Ethan Small going to get the ball for the Brew Crew. Coverage will begin on the radio dials about 35 minutes beforehand tonight. And then tomorrow, they've got that getaway day game at 1:10. Corbin Burns going to get the start for that game tomorrow. Then the Brewers head to Boston. And maybe this weekend we'll start to hear maybe some more trades and trade rumors and reports and all that fun stuff. I got to imagine it's going to be just nuts like next Monday and Tuesday. It's just going to be crazy on August 1st and August 2nd. Whew. Man. Some other stuff. I think I might have misspoke earlier talking about the Express too with the showcase. I think I might have mentioned it was going on now. It's next Tuesday on August 2nd. So I wanted to make sure I cleared it out. I couldn't remember if I misspoke or not, but I was trying to read the schedule. My vision is just like I think I need some new contacts or something like that. So wanted to clear that up there a little bit too. For all of you who had texted in for some Express tickets, check your texts. You should have a confirmation from me on there and where you can pick up your tickets. Looking forward to seeing everybody on Thursday. Not sure what this one is. Smooth Running Gears, CRBL box score showing Brant and Ryan Freitag, father-son, each hitting 2 home runs in the same game on Sunday for Osseo. Maybe not. Is that the opposite of like a grind my gears? Smooth one? Like a shout-out. I like that. That's a good way. I like that one. Okay, what else do we have on the docket here? What else do we want to kind of chat up? We talked about that Kyler Murray contract situation. I shouldn't say situation. The part where he's got to study for 4 hours a week. Whew. Sure, that looks really good on Kyler Murray, right? Sure, that looks really good on him. So tomorrow, we'll talk plenty of training camp. What are some of the storylines you will be following? All that fun stuff. We'll have a lot of fun over there. But I want to, just because we're going to be in Green Bay doesn't mean you can't text the program. That texting line, it's still going to be up and hopping. So make sure you're hitting us up with some texts, with some tweets, with some Facebook. The only thing that will be different for the next couple of days is we won't have the video stream up. I'll bring it with just in case I can figure it out, but I should be able to figure it out. But it depends on the plug-in situation in the internet. You know what I mean? So, but probably won't have the video stream up for the next couple of days here until we get back for Friday's show. But everything else still hopping with the texting line, tweets, and Facebook and all that fun stuff. So make sure you're still participating in the next couple of days. And if you are heading to training camp, maybe if it's not the next couple of days or you're just planning on it, send us some pictures. All right. So let us know. And if you are there, let us know. Maybe we'll do a little get together, a little tweet up, that sort of stuff. But yeah, looking forward to it. And I think tomorrow it's really going to hit me that football is back. That football is back. Seeing practice, no drama leading into practice. You know, no Aaron Rodgers drama. I mean, there's a little bit of drama of the unknown of David Bakhtiari and that, but no Aaron Rodgers drama. So it's going to feel like football tomorrow, no doubt about it. But we still got plenty of baseball stuff to be following with the Express and, of course, the Brewers. And don't forget about the Twinnies over there, too. Well, can't forget about them this weekend. It's Brewers and Twins this week. So DP and the Danettes, they're going to be up next year. That shot clock is going to cut me off. So tomorrow we'll do some stock reports. So get those babies on in. Whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. You can hit us up whenever on those reports. I'll probably play a little match game as we usually do on Wednesdays too. So there you go. Have a good rest of your day, everybody. We will chat with you tomorrow, just past 6 a.m., just yards away from Lambeau Field, getting ready for training camp. Football is back. Talk to you tomorrow.
You're listening to the Dan Patrick Show on WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1.
You're out, you're about, but you're